So, check.
There it is. It's up.
Yeah. Okay. So, Shabbat Shalom, everybody. My apologies for being a little tardy today. But let's just go ahead and jump into it. I'm actually going to pray today. Dear Heavenly Father, we used to ask for you to forgive us of our sins and the sins of our ancestors. We want to say thank you for life and for life more abundantly. We thank you for this fellowship. We thank you for us not forsaking the assembly of ourselves, Father. We just thank you for your tender mercies and just thank you, Father, for not forgetting about us even when we feel like we're not worth much. We just ask for you to strengthen our minds and our bodies, Father. We thank you for your word, which is doing forever. And, Father, we thank you for your love, which covers a multitude and even all sins, Father. We just ask for you to be with us, Father, even to the end of the age or of the world, Father. All these things we do ask and pray in the name of your beloved Son, Amen. Okay. So, not last week, but the week before, we got into the true nature of prayer. So, this one's not really about prayer, but it's really about, am I my brother's keeper, right? So, to get started, I got a question. Are you your brother's keeper? And Brandon, what does that mean?
I believe that if I am truly my brother's keeper, then I will pray for, do for, help out, look out for my brothers. However,
Absolutely.
I have not.
You've been honest. Hey,
And,
honesty.
That's it.
Okay. Bam, you got anything?
No.
I knew it. So we're going to go to Leviticus 19. And we're going to read verses 15 through 18. And it says, you shall do no unrighteousness in judgment. Thou shalt not, or you shall not respect the person of the poor, nor honor the person of the mighty, but in righteousness shalt thou judge thy neighbor. So what does that mean?
So no matter what, no matter who.
Brandon, what does that mean?
I'm glad you asked. Cause that threw me for a loop. We ain't supposed to judge.
It says, you shall do no unrighteousness in judgment.
But I don't know. Cause go ahead. I don't know.
Bam, go ahead.
Yeah, so that means, like no matter who, no matter what, you have to judge righteously. Whether it's the poor, the rich, the mighty, you know, how some people respect certain demographic of people, you know, rich or poor. However you deal with people, deal with them honestly.
There it is. There it is.
So what you're saying is basically, regardless.
Is your mic on?
Yeah. Regardless of your standing,
There it is.
then if you drop a pancake, rich or poor, you still drop a pancake.
Right. So a lot of times, like you go to, I'll call them churches or assemblies, and people will esteem the leadership too much to where they'll let them get away from faults when they should be getting righteously judged. So there is a right way to judge people.
Yeah.
And when it comes to unrighteousness, that means that you're just doing it for selfish reasons. You know, I'm going to get you, sucker. You know, I'm going to get this get back, right? So it says, you shall do no unrighteousness in judgment. You shall not respect the person of the poor. So whenever you see thou, that just means you. Nor honor the person of the mighty. But in righteousness shall you judge your neighbor. So we're going to come back to neighbor. A lot of this is just a rehash. We just got to remember or remind ourselves. It says, thou shalt not go up and down as a talebearer among thy people. Neither shalt thou stand against the blood of thy neighbor. I am Yahuwah. So, Brandon, what does that mean?
Don't be a tattletale.
Not necessarily just a tattletale, but
Like a soothsayer. Don't run around making tales. When I say, okay,
Yep.
tattletale, I take
Yeah.
that word back.
Mhm.
I take that word back. What I mean by that is, don't run around telling people such and such did this and that when they didn't do that. Don't go around making up lies and stories.
So what you're saying is don't run around here being the son of an Amorite.
Don't go around here.
Don't let an Amorite be your father, because one of the definitions of an Amorite was literally a sayer. And so if you go even further and like you look into it, I found another definition that talked about you will basically be speaking lies to get gain. So these Amorites are masters at deception and lying. So the Most High was like, yeah, don't be lying. Don't be running around your people telling all these tales, lying on folks, being the son of an Amorite. Because if I'm your father, then that cannot be in you, right? Right. Exactly, right? Amongst your people, and you shall stand, neither shall you stand against the blood of your neighbor. I am Yahuwah. So don't be lying about the blood. Don't be having blood on your hands against anybody, and don't be lying on the blood of anybody, right? Then it says, thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart. Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor and not suffer sin upon him. So when you talk about prayer, when you talk about the hearts of the fathers turning to the children, the hearts of the children turning to the fathers, right? Hate is a big issue that we've dealt with, especially culturally. We have a lot of animosity towards other nations. We have a lot of animosity towards ourselves. Yeah, animosity, amorosity. And when it says you shall not have hate thy brother in your heart, what does that mean?
I mean, like deep down, it's not a surface thing, or you may be like a deep down, but it's not surface. Like, you know, are you angry at me versus I can't stand you.
Right.
It's not the same.
Mm-hmm.
So you shouldn't have the hate that, like it says in your heart, that's pretty much who you are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm looking at this and these look like some of the commandments. Like number 16 is like, don't bear false witness against your brother, because that's what the commandment. Thou shalt not bear false witness.
Mm-hmm.
And then it said that thou shalt not have hate in thy heart against, you know.
Exactly.
Neighbor. And that's love thy neighbor as thyself.
Right.
You know, so.
And then it says, thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor and not suffer sin upon him. We're not going to get to rebuke yet. I'm just going to read the next verse. It says, thou shalt not avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people, but thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. I am Yahuwah. So what does that mean?
Go back.
It says, thou shalt not avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people, but thou shalt, shalom sis, Shabbat shalom, but thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. Brandon, what does that mean? Shabbat shalom. Shabbat.
If I'm reading it correctly, then if
You start from the first comma.
you said what?
From the first comma, thou shalt not avenge. What does it mean to avenge?
I mean, strike against.
Get that get back, right?
Yeah. So if Bam, did something to my,
Which happens.
one of my people, because Bam's be mad. Then I'm supposed to pray for.
And then, okay, nor bear any grudge against the children of your people. So you can't avenge, and then you can't, let that thing fester.
So I have to let it go.
Let it go. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Leave it at the altar.
Yeah. And it says, but thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. I am Yahuwah. What does that mean?
Still, you gotta treat them with respect. You have to love them,
Mm-hmm.
And the I am Yahuwah. It just means, for me, do your part. I got it.
Right. So he's telling us what to do to make sure there's no blood or anything on our hands, right? So you do this and then your slate's going to be wiped clean. So this is in Leviticus, so this is a part of the quote-unquote law, right? Mm-hmm. So this is what we're supposed to be doing, and we're supposed to be mindful of these things, because going through life, people, friends, family try you. Spouses try you. Children try you. Co-workers try you. Especially children. Yeah, especially Bam children. His children, right? So then I have a question. So it says, It talked about your brother, right? You're not supposed to hate your brother in your heart. Who is your brother? Because so a lot of this is a rehash. So, Brandon.
Blood of my blood, even though it's
Hey,
of my
perfect.
blood.
Perfect. That works. Blood of my blood. So the Hebrew word is ak, right? That's why you hear a lot of the camp members say ak, aki, that means brother, right? Strong's H251, in case you want to look it up. It means brother, brother of same parents, half brother, relative, kinship, tribe. So it's not just your literal brother, it's somebody else, because we know that somewhere down the line we're related anyway. So we still can't have hate in our hearts towards the brethren, right? And you take it even further, we're supposed to be a part of the body of Mashiach. So we can't be the doggone the right arm hating the left arm. You see what I'm saying? Like, we got to work on that because we're still all a part of the body, and the body's got to function. So yeah, you see that reciprocality? Yeah, we'll just keep making up words, huh? Reciprocity, right? So again, ak means brother, kindred, family, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then it talked about thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor. Master, what does rebuke mean?
To reject something.
Yeah, see, Master don't play. Yeah, to reject something. So the word in Hebrew is yakah. Yakah. It's H3198, yakah. And yakah means to prove, decide, to judge, reprove, correct. So in this instance, it really means to correct somebody. If somebody's done you wrong, like, hold on, well, wait a minute now. Let me get this straight so you don't think we have that type of relationship that you're just going to talk to me any type of way. Because I'm not going to come at you that way. We're going to respect each other, right? So again, that means to judge. It means to reason. And reason does not mean it's just one person's talking and it's always their way. That's not how you reason with a brother, with family. Go ahead.
And you can actually respectfully disagree with each other.
Facts.
And still come to an understanding that even though I don't agree with you and I don't like your standpoint, I don't have to have a disdain for or stand against you.
Right. Because differences of opinions going to happen. We all human. Some of us are man, some of us are creatures. It also talks about appointed arguing, right? So because when you're rebuking somebody that's done something to you, more than likely an argument's going to ensue. But still, you got to remember these principles in that to where you don't get outside of your character because of who you represent. Because it's not about you, it's about the Father. Like, people are always watching us, coming into the truth, living differently, eating differently, moving differently. And then when situations arise, they want to see how you're going to handle it. And then not just them, the Most High wants to see too, like, okay, I see you growing. Let me see how you going to react when this curveball gets thrown at you. Are you going to sit on it? Or are you going to be just too gung-ho and you're going to get a strike? You're going to strike out. So again, that's yakah. So when you rebuke something, you yakah it, right? So we talked about brother real quick. And then the other word that I wanted to define was neighbor in that context, right? Because you're supposed to love your neighbor as yourself, right? So that word is amith. Amith. It's H5997, amith. And it means relation, neighbor, associate. So even still, if you're keeping it in full context, it's talking about your own people. Because the commandments was given to Moses and he gave it to the people. And then, in case people don't realize it, this also includes those that cleave to the covenant that are not of the same nation. You cannot harbor hate in your heart because of their nationality. They ain't got nothing to do with that because they've cleaved to the covenant. All that's been forgiven. The Most High forgave them for whatever may be against them. So should you. Who are you? Unless you're trying to judge unrighteously. We just read about that.
What's that word?
Which word? Amith. Amith. Right? So relation, neighbor, associate, fellow. Right? So then it says love your neighbor as yourself. Now this is the one. This is really the one. Love. What is love?
Love is patient, caring. Mm-hmm. Love is kind. Mm-hmm. Love is not. This
No, you're right. You was reading
Nah.
that's from that was from the book. Mm-hmm.
is a song by Kurt Franklin.
Uh huh.
But yeah, but no, love is long suffering.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's. I want to say the Most High. He describes himself as love.
Right.
Boy,
So
our people, even just individually, the mistakes we be making on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, the attitudes, the 7 things the Most High hates. We know them prideful looks. You know, a lying tongue. We know the Most High, long suffering, long, tender mercies, long. So the word for love, again, this is a rehash, is ahab. Ahab, right? It's H157, ahab. And it means to love. Human love for one another is the first definition of it. Includes family and sexual, so that's your spouse. Human appetite for objects such as food, drink, you know. But it says act of being a friend. So the Most High, he didn't say you must like your neighbor as yourself. Because that's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
You can love people and not really go, you know, be together with them.
it
Go
goes
ahead.
Back to like that you angry at me versus I can't stand you.
Man.
And love, like you said, I can like you, but that don't mean I love you.
That sounds like marriage.
Look, that's the perfect example because you married like, man, you lucky, I love you. I don't like you right now, so I'm just going to be in my man cave or I'm going to do what I got to do because I don't really like you too much right now.
I seen a video, was it today or yesterday? And the guy, he was a comedian. He was like, you can get away with things when I like you. And he was just like, you know, we're dating, whatever, and you knock on that drink. Like, no, it's okay, you know. But if I love you, then that's gonna anger me. And it was like, man, why would you set your drink right there?
What you talking about?
But like I said, it's more deep rooted, you know, because like I said, once again, that light, it's a surface level thing.
Okay, my bad. Had to set that up. So, again, love and like, 2 different things. We're not commanded to like everybody, even people in our own nation, but you still got to love. You still got to deal righteously with everybody. And grudges, man. We're so quick to throw our own people away. So quick to burn bridges. But we'll eat that humble pie when it comes to other nations. Especially if they are of the Caucasian persuasion.
Guilty as charged.
Huh? No, I mean, we all are, myself included. Like, I had to come out of I was so bad to where I was literally worshiping white people and I didn't even realize it. I had to come out of that like, wait, they're not better than me because of their skin color.
Yeah.
But then I had to realize every movie, every television show, everything that you're taught in history is tailored for you to worship that image. And I don't have any animosity towards anybody of the Caucasian persuasion. That's got nothing to do with it. But we have to, when you talk about coming out of her, you got to come out of her, that mentality, because that's just bonkers. You want to just make sure, you know, somebody of a different nationality comes in and you want to stop what you're doing and act this, and that. But then when you're around your people, it's completely different. And you're quick to have an attitude, quick to just throw, you know, whatever it is away and not really think, okay, what's this person going through? Because if it's somebody of a different nationality, then, you know, I'll probably be more patient and kind. Again, I'm not saying deal with everybody. That's what I'm saying. But when you have to, you're going to have to, because times is coming to where we got to know those that labor among us and we got to know who we can trust.
Yeah.
You know, so a lot of this stuff, man, like getting out of that Greco-Roman Amoritic mindset of what love is. Love means that I have to like you. No, it don't. That's not what it means at all.
It's like love you from a distance.
But man, I'm telling you, ask people. They know I'll do that quick in a heartbeat. No, I love you. I got love for you, fam. Yeah, I'll see you though. I'm gonna keep it moving. Keep it moving. So to keep it moving, we're gonna go to Romans 12. Romans 12, and we're gonna read verses 9 and 10. It says, "Let love be without dissimulation. Abhor that which is evil. Cleave to that which is good." So always you want to be going to the good things. Go ahead.
No, just I've never noticed that, but I always I tell people, you know, like, back to what you like, don't just throw people away. I said, man, I take the good, leave the bad.
Bro, with every relationship with everybody. Because I mean, even if you don't even end up being as close with people as you used to be, you don't just, don't. We have to examine ourselves because when Mashiach came down and he was letting us know the keys to the kingdom and things that we have to do in order to be adopted, to be transformed into the sons of Elul or the sons and daughters of the Most High, he was letting us know, hey, if you are so, I'm just gonna stay right here. We're talking about love, right? I'm gonna switch the topic to forgiveness. 'Cause this isn't in here. What's the purpose of forgiveness?
It's for you.
Huh? So you're forgiving somebody. Why? You just said it.
For you, like for
But-
your conscience to cleanse you, because if you can't forgive, you can't receive forgiveness. It's like a block. So you have to let that blockage go in order to release your blockage. I mean,
So, I have a question about that. Not a question, more of a statement. I have forgiven people for thousands and thousands of things, and every time I forgive them, another part of me dies inside. Because
How?
I truly don't.
How?
Because it's like the question inside of me as I'm forgiving that person is, and I don't know if and the question I guess goes, am I really forgiving them? But how could they do what they did and not own up to it? How can they? And my biggest problem is they are they are the reason I say family ain't the blood that runs through my veins.
Oh yeah, facts. And,
So
and
when
I'm
it
10
comes
toes
down
down on
to
that.
it, when it comes down to it, yeah, I forgive you. But every time I say it, it's like there's
So that kind of sounds like something you got to work on. Just because you forgive somebody, don't mean that you don't believe who they are, because they've already shown you that. You forgive them for your sake. You don't expect anything different from them. That's just who they are.
So how do you move forward? Because
He just said it.
I genuinely
you heard what she said?
no.
You give it to the Father. When you truly forgive
Go back a couple
someone,
slides.
like you're not just saying, "Hey, I
Yeah,
forgive
take
you."
this
You're forgiving them in the name of our Father and being like, "Father,
Go back.
I'm
Go
gonna pray
back.
for you, and I'm gonna hand this situation over to Him and be
Go
like,
back.
I'm done.
One more time.
I love them genuinely, but I don't have to put up with this, and I'm asking you to free my peace." So basically, you have
Right, it
to.
was right, the scripture right before this.
When you're forgiving someone, like genuinely forgiving, you are giving up that animosity feeling. You're giving up that hatred feeling. You're giving up that I need it.
Give her the mic, cause she teaching right now. Give her the mic.
You're like, you have to have closure.
Go ahead. You better hold it right.
When you have to have closure for that forgiveness, like when you say I forgive you, that is deep seated, and you know the Father is going to make sure that you have your peace and that He deals with them how they deal with them, and you have to have faith that the Father's going to do that. So that definitely is like Brother Manny was saying. That's something you got to work within, because if you forgive them and you still feel, oh, I can't believe I did that, that means you haven't forgiven them.
Facts.
Read 18.
Yeah. You read 18. You read 18.
You actually read that, but that's your answer to your question.
Read it, man.
It said, you shall not avenge. That means whatever it is, don't take part in it. Don't take part in the avenge part. It says, nor, and your purpose for speaking what you spoke, you said, family ain't the blood that run through my veins.
Yeah.
So this says, nor bear any grudge against thy children of thy people. Their grudge, that's what like you said, yes, lip service and I forgive them.
But not heart service. Lip service, but not heart service.
It's hard, ain't it? Not saying they don't want to be, but we don't know. We have to be taught these things. A lot of things we go through because first it's passed down through our DNA and what we've seen in our raising and the evidence of the things around us. So that's why you have to relearn what you know. You have to understand how we learned wasn't the way. You know what I mean? Because the way you receive love, like family is supposed to be your first go-to of love. They ain't a love problem. Now you gotta go back and figure out how to love properly. And keep reading this up. But thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. And like I said, that last part said, I am Yahweh. I'm Yahuwah. I'm Lord. I'm God. So he is God. He letting you know, I got your back. But make sure you righteous in your dealings.
Make sure you cleanse your heart. Make sure you circumcise your heart. So then when they keep doing this bad stuff to you, you're going to know that my hand is on you because of what happens to them. You're going to be an example because they're going to be like, man, good things keep happening to you. And every time I do something to you, man, I keep getting affected. Like, what's wrong? Because you're that example in people's lives. So it's more about you just really forgiving and then not expecting them to even say that they forgive you back. Even sometimes you forgive people even though they did you wrong.
Yes.
Like, okay, because I know when people come at me, I can give them the wrong attitude too. So sometimes you be like, hey, my bad. I didn't even mean it. Even if I didn't do nothing wrong, like, okay.
Right.
Because then the Most High is going to judge between you. I'm like, okay. So you humbled yourself, you will be exalted. And since they were trying to exalt themselves, they will be humbled.
Exactly.
So like that's why like you're talking about you forgive them and you keep thinking, why would they keep doing this stuff to me? That's not for you to think. And then that also tells you got to have discernment to where I got to stop giving them this much access to me then.
Exactly.
Because it's creating a harmful environment. It's not productive. Like where do I go from it? I end up getting to this place where I get down and depressed and hurt behind it because this person keeps showing me who they are and I don't believe it. I don't want to believe it.
Like, keep allowing them to be that person.
Like we were not called to be fools. Go ahead.
Yeah. Another thing, and my brother told me this years ago. Family member, close family member. And I told him, I said, bro, I need closure. And that's what it is. Like you said, because you forgive them, and like you said, a little bit that, because you're expecting them to be different. You're expecting, like, if I forgive you, that's me being a bigger person, so you need to treat me differently. People like that.
No.
Like I said, so you're looking for the closure. That's why the so-called dying inside. But you can't get closure from it. Like I said, my brother told me that. I said, bro, I just need closure. I want to know why.
But the
And he
Bible
took-
already told us though.
But yeah, so my brother, he was like, bro, only person who give you closure is God.
Mm-hmm.
And bro, that stuck with me. It stuck with me so hard. And I'm like, and it was simple words.
That's verse.
Yeah.
It's just his mindset of the Lord. And he even told us that our a brother was made for adversity,
Adversity.
and a friend was there to love. Like that's paraphrasing.
She really-
But if we read the word and study, when we get like that's what helps me through my situations. Is I remember the vengeance of the Lord, and I trust in that. I'm like, all right, well, you got this, boom. But then I'm like, if it's especially if it's my family member, and y'all know I've had some. And I'm just like, you know what? That is true. They are built for adversity. Seriously. And I'm just like, I'm looking up on my life, I'm like, man, I understand that so deeply now. When I forgive, I'm like, I forgive you, I love you, but I will love you from a distance.
Oh man. No, keep
And
going.
I
Man.
keep that because just like Manny was saying, like, when it starts taking at your anxiety, your depression, that
Your
spirit on
peace.
them, yes, and then that's just like, you know what? The Father said He got this. He has me. I'm okay with it because this is exactly what the Word told me. And the Word said, protect your heart at all times. So those are some verses that you have to keep embedded in your heart. So
Boy,
when
she
you're
talking right
forgiving,
now. She talking.
You're literally forgiving and trusting in the Father that He's gonna make peace within your life with the situation, and He's gonna take care of them on His own time.
Yeah, she teaching right now. Then it says, back to Romans 12. It says, be cleave to that which is good. It says, be kindly affection one to another with brotherly love, and honor preferring one another. We're talking about being a kingdom, right? Having the dominion and rulership. How can we do that if we don't prefer one another? Think about it. And everything starts with the man. Everything starts at home. How can we do things if we don't prefer even our immediate family first?
The kids too.
Yeah, that's kids too. That's kids too. That is kids too. Absolutely. Absolutely, that's kids too. But I don't know why I did that. You start thinking, and it's just like, it's so easy to love people of other nations because you really don't expect anything from them.
Exactly. Man.
Go ahead.
Oh. Somebody told me disappointment seeds and expectations. Like you can't disappoint me if I don't expect anything from you. So like he said, that's 100% correct.
Keep talking. I gotta fix the camera.
But yeah, and the only way you can do this is just don't expect things from people.
Well, it's not even that. Have realistic expectations. Like, because people, they show you who they are. Heck, they tell you who they are. We just don't want to believe it because there's a really wise quote. We expect ourselves from other people.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
And it's on the one minute. Like,
Yeah.
everybody
You got to love your neighbor as yourself, but the Most High didn't say expect the same love back from that person.
He did not.
He didn't say
He
that.
didn't say that.
He said love them as yourself, and then I am Yahuwah.
Yes.
Like, I got it. If they ain't gonna give it to you, I got you.
Like, I got you.
don't even worry about that. You do it because this is my word, and it cannot return unto me void. I got you.
I had a few people get mad at me because they said, "Don't you trust me?" And I was like, "Yeah, I do. I trust you to be who you are."
Facts.
And they were like, "Well, what's that mean?" I'm like, "Well, we'll see." Because I've trusted people to be who I wanted them to be or who I needed them to be, and they were never that. And they trusted me to do the same, and I never met their mark, and we disappointed each other. Rather than trust us to be who we are naturally. Because I'll never meet your benchmark, and you'll never meet mine. You might exceed it, but you'll never meet it. If that makes sense.
No,
you
no.
You might be, like, okay, I called you one time, and you were mad about something, and it poured out into the phone, and I was like, did I do something? After that, it was like, I can trust him to be who he is. If he's mad about something, I might see what that feels like accidentally. I have to take it less personally next time. And likewise, when I'm depressed, y'all know it. The world knows it. Because I'm quick, I'm short, I don't want to deal with people.
Yep.
And y'all are like, are you okay? And I'm like, oh, I need to check myself. Trust me to be who I am. And y'all love me at who I am, and I appreciate y'all for that. That's been my problem. It was not, it's up to that point. I trusted people to be who I wanted them to be.
Can't do that.
Couldn't do it.
Because and a lot of times that trust, it's an infatuation that you created in your mind. It's a mark that they can never reach.
Yeah.
So you're setting yourself up for failure because you're not being realistic, for lack of a better term. Again, people show you and they tell you who they are. You got to start believing their actions, and then don't don't superimpose what you want from people on them, especially if they're not there, if they're growing to something. Like, you got to let things grow. But again, this all goes back to us loving one another and preferring one another. So to prefer something means that is your what? Choice.
And you want that.
So love, this we're talking about marriage, is a choice. Like, especially in marriage, because like we were saying, everybody that's been married, whatever, knows you do not like your partner every doggone day. I know there's days my wife, she probably can't stand me, and vice versa. But it's still making that choice and preferring, like, I still don't want to be with no other woman. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're choosing that because there's power in your choice. But because it is a choice, a lot of times it's easier to choose everybody else because we don't have these expectations. We don't throw all this responsibility. We don't throw all this energy towards other people. You know what I'm saying? But our people, like, man, if he look at me wrong, if he don't come on time, whatever the case may be, we a lot of times we be looking for a reason to throw our own people off.
Yeah.
We come into a situation looking to get out, so it's not gonna work.
Yeah.
Preferring one another, that's what the Most High wants for us to do. Because with the stuff that's coming down, who you gonna trust? Who you going to depend on? You gonna trust all strangers, all of them?
Yeah.
Never take candy from strangers.
Go ahead.
And a lot of times, like with the love, a lot of us fail to realize when it's love, it's not just love. Like when you're treating your neighbor as yourself or treating your brother as yourself, like when the situations occur, you have to give them the same grace that you want in that situation.
The same what?
Same grace. And so like with that grace, like you don't know what they might have had a bad day, like, and they just kind of came out the wrong. And if you stay calm on your end, and I've learned this over the years, you say calm on your end after they're done saying what they say, like, hey, are you okay? Like, is everything alright? Is there something else that is on your mind because you seem irritated right now? That giving that same grace can open up a lot of like understanding between the two people
Oh man.
or whoever's in that party, and then you guys can come to a whole different understanding, and next thing you know, like that whole situation is calmer. And then now you don't win them over because you're like, you know what, I done messed up. No, okay, I apologize. I did have a rough day, etc., etc. So like giving that same grace because you don't know what I go through on a daily basis. Like, you know, and I try to, like, with my husband, like, I let him know, like, hey, I'm having an emotional day. Just so he knows. And the
Oh,
crazy
that's so
part about
good.
that is that, you know, like, with just the other day, I was like, I had a really emotional day, and I don't know what was going on. I was just kind of praying and just working through my day. And I hadn't talked to him. Like, he came in and brought me, like, some actual flowers I can plant. I love that. And I was just like, you literally just knew, like, without me having to say anything. But it's that grace that we give each other on a daily basis, whether we think we need it or not. Approach it with not just love, but as in grace as well, because you just never know what that person might be dealing with. That's all.
Yeah, she teaching right now.
Bars.
Yeah. Look, master teacher right now. She teaching right there. Wow. So with love, with grace, you got to keep asking yourself a question in situations when you're dealing with brethren, with family. Like, you got to keep asking yourself, am I my brother's keeper? Am I doing the things that are still going to keep this relationship viable? Keep this bridge from burning all the way down? You know, because you're not going to get along with everybody all the time. You're not going to agree on everything. It's just not going to happen. I mean, especially in the truth, there's going to be different doctrines, different whatever is going to come up. But salvation issues, family, tribe, coming together, moving forward. What Elder Mike always talks about, group economics, these type of things. Do you really want to mess that stuff up? Are we looking at the big picture? Or are we looking at the short term? Are we looking at the emotional thing? Because again, we're supposed to be preferring one another, and we, as a nation, we don't do that. And we're going to talk about some of the stuff that she was talking about. We're going to go to Proverbs 17.
Oh.
That's what I said. This a lot of this is a rehash.
Proverbs 17 is my
We're going to get there.
I'm sharing that with my family. I'll be sharing that.
Hey,
Every time they have something, I'm like, look, you're going to have to just learn how to pray.
because there's power in silence.
Yes.
You don't always have to respond quick to somebody. Sometimes you wait a day,
Yes.
collect your thoughts, collect yourself. Like, all right, I'm going to respond in a respectful, calm manner. And then we're going to see how things proceed. Now, if you still at on 10, then we'll see, you know.
I've gotten to the point where before I even respond, I pray about it. Like, they may say something and come on like crazy, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and pray about this, and I'll leave it at that, and I'll pray about it, and it might be a couple days, might be a week, but I'm just like, I'm gonna ask the Father to give me what I need to say to this person, or what we need to speak about, so that way it's not coming out. Because like I said, we might be in a great, strong foundation with the Father. We know how to react, but the person we're dealing with, they don't have that understanding yet. And so, in order to get that understanding to talk to them, you gotta ask the Father, like, hey, Father, how should I approach this person? And He'll open up the perfect time and the right word to say and how to say it. If you just listen and be obedient and not try to jump up into your emotions. Because that's just gonna fear their fire, and next thing you know, there's a squabble, and you guys are all stressed out over nothing.
And you ain't.
It could be something so little. Just, hey, this is that, and then that person might be saying, hey, I was never told that before, and this is a true story. I won't say no names, but I was never told that before. Nobody has ever sat me down and explained this is how people look at me. All because it was a waiting. Let me pray about it. I'm not gonna react. And I'm just gonna let it be. And then when the timing was right, I was like, okay, it's time. And I felt it in my spirit to, hey, let's talk about something. I'm gonna talk about this because I love you, and I'm coming to you as that. I don't even want to be that person. I'm just coming as a vessel. And it opened up a whole door that they were just like, wow, nobody's ever told me that. And they said, I have to do some self-reflecting. So if we just wait on the Father before our emotions take over, There'll be a lot of things that we can fix, not just with each other in this group, but also outside. I'm sorry, guys.
No, you're good. Hey.
I need to hear this.
Yeah, I ain't got no qualms.
That's all I
Like,
thought too. I ain't gonna tell no story.
we're on Proverbs 17.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we haven't. Yeah, she Master was just preaching right there, teaching. She was just teaching right there. It says, "He that covereth the transgression seeketh love, but he that repeateth the matter," what you were talking about, separateth very friends. That's why when people show you who they are, be like, okay. Again, don't give them that access. Like that's how you can keep a relationship on good terms, and then your heart doesn't continue to get hurt and get destroyed, right? Because you said you feel like you keep dying every time that they keep doing you wrong.
Let me get 10.
Hmm?
Let me get 10.
Go ahead, you got 10.
Alright, so check this out. 10. 10 says, "A proof entereth more into a wise man than 100 stripes into a fool."
So
Now,
what does that mean?
I break that down as,
Uh-huh.
and it goes to that old adage, "Sticks and stones will break my bones, and words will never hurt me." Lies, wrong.
Facts.
There are words that I say to somebody in the 3rd grade that I said to somebody that I went back in my 20s and even again in my 30s when I got back from the military and apologized because it hurt me so bad that I said something to them that hurt them. Words stick to people more. I got cuts that I don't remember getting, but some stuff somebody said.
Boy, you ain't gonna forget that. Like, all right.
But remember the word says that
Yeah,
your
it's
tongue
on.
speaks. It's the power of your tongue, the sword here. So the word says it. I don't know why they told us different, but the book that we read in it tells you that words are powerful.
Yeah, life and death.
Life and
Exactly.
death. That's two of the most
Boy.
major things.
Man. Life and death. And then so verse 14. "The beginning of strife is as when one letteth out water. Therefore leave off contention before it meddleth with." That's what you're talking about. Like sometimes you gotta wait a little bit. And don't be trying to like pick at something. Like if you know you and somebody has a disagreement about something, don't always try to bring it up with them. Because that's what you kept dealing with when you was out there on the road. You want to keep getting into the same conversation and arguments like, why, bro? This is not fruitful.
Yeah.
That's not a fruit of the spirit. That's a fruit of contention, right? So we're not supposed to do that. Then it says, "A friend loveth at all times, and a brother is born," this is what she was talking about, "for adversity." So a friend loveth at all times. So if you look at the definitions of neighbor that we went through, brother, all that stuff, you'll see a friend in there, But when we're dealing with our own people, like our love only goes so far, and then it's just like, yeah, that's it. It's not gonna go no further than that. Like I don't have enough love to really forgive you. I don't have enough love to actually listen to what you're trying to tell me, so I can make sure I'm getting the correct message. A lot of times, people are coming to us because we are in the wrong. But we can't even accept it because we don't like getting told that we're wrong. A lot of us are still children in our mentality. Like can't be told nothing. Like which it don't even make sense. Like that's why you have elders, right? Because so when you're wrong, there's been elders that they've told me certain things. I'm like, my bad. You're right. I was wrong.
Yeah.
Elders, heck, even sometimes it's BAM. Sometimes it might be June or Jeremiah. Like if you're wrong, you're wrong. But it's not something to where, so that's another misconception. People think you come into the truth, maybe a person is a prophet or a moray or whatever, that they won't make mistakes. Like the Most High, He gives you the right answers, but that don't mean that you and your walk are not gonna make mistakes.
Right.
Like that's not like I'll be listening to people and well, I don't want this and I don't want that. I'm like, man, do you think that you won't make any mistakes?
Right.
You think that you won't have to correct certain things later on? That's not how this works. That's why it's a walk. That's why it's a race. It's a marathon. But loving at all times, like, do we really understand what all times means? Because this love is actually going to a friend, which is supposed to be your brother, according to Proverbs 17, right? 17 and 17. So loving at all times, not liking, you don't always have to deal with people at all times, but love, dealing righteously, not judging unrighteously, sitting back and making sure that you are actually in your right standing, like, okay, I'm actually right behind this. And then there is actually a way that you can approach people. I don't need it right now. I don't even know what that is. There's a way that you can actually approach people. And that's another thing. Our people don't know how to communicate. We don't know how to talk to one another. We don't, like, you know, they always talk about love languages in relationships. We don't know we don't know basic communication skills. We just think it's automatically got to be arguing, complaints, yelling, cussing people out. That's not what effective communicators do. Sometimes you have to take time, and like you say, sometimes you just got to sit there and listen and get a feel for what the Spirit is telling you about that situation. But we don't want to do that because we don't really understand what loving at all times means.
And that might just be our test. And we keep going through it because we're not taking heed to what the Father's telling us.
Same test over and over and over.
Over and over, and we keep putting these situations over and over again, and you're just like, why do these people keep approaching me?
Why they keep trying me?
Maybe it's because it's our test that we have to get through, and the Father's waiting for us to be quiet, bite your tongue, and wait for Him to say, okay, now you can speak. We're so hard-headed, we want to do everything ourselves.
Not be like Peter.
Yeah, you know, he can look. You only gonna hear half of what he got to say. Like, that's it.
So I had a situation back in July, and I think I've covered this before, but so me and a real close friend of mine, we fell out like bad, like when I see you cross the street, bad.
It's on site.
It was. Whew, anyway, I digress. It got to a point I called him out. I said, "You ain't gonna come over here though. You got that action." He pulled up. And I was like, bet. I went outside with him. Anyway, it got bad. And they say communication is key. Wrong. Comprehension is. You can communicate all day. You're talking to a brick wall. The brick wall ain't gonna
See,
talk back.
and that's a misconception about communication. You got to know how to effectively communicate. You got to know who you're talking to and how to actually communicate it in the way that they can understand it.
So we sat there after we got our yelling out and everything. He told me why he did what he did, and I told him why I felt the way I felt, and it was all miscommunication.
Yep.
When I say the bridge that had got burnt was like, we left so much on the table. When I say, dude, we could have been so much further than where we are. And he's moving, and I'm just chilling. Like, I don't want to do it. I'm cool. I'll watch him from a distance, from over here. But pride is a mug. And when we
One of
sat
7
down,
things Most High hates, man.
we still have that conversation because we both have closure that needs to be had. But I'm telling him we don't need to get that from each other. I told him before this, I was like, you know, because I just now learned this today, that closure comes from the Most High. It was just there. I was like, I don't need to get closure from you. I got what I needed. I'm good. And he was like, well, you know, I still got stuff. And I'm like, no, we good. We cool. We're good now. Can we move forward?
Facts.
You know, but that's it. That's all.
Yeah. Were you gonna say something, Bill?
Nah, he pretty much hit on the head. Like you said, like Master Jess was saying, just pray on it. And that's something I have to do because I know when she was speaking, you kept looking at me. Because that's something I'm
And myself too. It ain't just you.
Infamous for people saying, "Oh, you think you know? You gotta have it your way." Granted, I don't just think about the situation. I think about the situation and the outcome. And most people only view their point. So when I argue my point, it's like a bigger picture point. But still, yet they don't get that understanding. It's things I have told people verbatim.
Literally.
And 7, 8 years later, it comes to fruition. I'm like, how?
And then they hear from somebody else, and yeah, they told me this, and I'm like,
but it's still the energy and the spirit I was coming in. And you said, I need to sit back and I need to pray before I have them tough conversations, so to speak. Because I guess I'm very infamous. Like, I'm shutting any stupidity, I'm shutting it down right then and there. However, I know some people have to hear themselves say certain things in order to know that's wrong. But when I hear it, I can't accept it. So like, I have to be in that point to accept and pray to get not only understanding from me, but let them get understanding from themselves.
right.
And now, I guess I'm infamous for like you said, always yelling. Like I don't want to yell, but that's where it gets to. Like I said, just stupid. Like you know it's stupid. Like I ain't gotta tell you it's stupid. And that just grinds me up and like it just shoot me through the roof every time. And you were saying something about just coming back to the same, pretty much same cycles of things. And I'm like, there's no way you have to, like you know what you're doing. But maybe like you said, that's me keep going through these texts. I gotta figure out I'm not one not learning. Even though they doing something, but I don't have to pray.
And then maybe that change doesn't happen until they see you be consistent with your change.
Exactly. And so, and this stuff me and you have talked about before. You know what I mean? Like I said, but when she said, prime example, what I'm talking about, when she said, I got it.
Yeah, it hit.
And you talk about it, you like,
Yeah. That's what you be saying, and I don't. I definitely don't.
It's MJ.
We have to realize though, like, with this walk that we're walking on, like, a lot of people are not gonna understand a lot of things that we are talking about, right? So, and I used to be like that too, like, and that's why I can speak on it because I had to pray on it, but I got tired, and I was depressed and I was stressed out and
Talk about
I didn't have no peace. So, I mean, I really had to start talking and you know, speaking to the Father on my own. And when I started doing that without the distractions, that's when it was just like, no, you don't always have to have an answer. You don't always have to be right because your seeds that you're sowing, the Father has particular people for us to sow seeds into that He's going to put in our path. Now, we can put a seed in the ground, right?
Man.
And it might be bad soil. So He's not ready for you to put that seed in that soil yet. Yeah, we're doing it anyway because we're not listening. So like I had to really get to a point where I was like, I don't want to be led by anything other than the Father. So when I just like learn to pick your battles, that's one thing. Like you gotta realize that the Father sometimes don't need you to speak to people because they're not ready to handle the seed that you have for them. Now you're wasting your energy giving your seeds over that the Father said, I didn't ask you to plant those seeds. Now you have to deal with what's grown from that seed. And I tell my children, so you're gonna sow that seed, you're gonna have to deal with the repercussions because it's gonna grow.
The repercussions.
So that's another thing. Like before I speak anything, and trust me, I got like so much learning to do in different areas of my life. But this is one of the areas where I'm like, I was tired of planting seeds that later on had developed, and I was like, you know, that was my fault. I shouldn't have said something. I shouldn't have reacted the way I did. You know what? It's okay for them to think that they're right about that situation, even if I know more. And just the way they act, you can tell that they're not ready for that knowledge that the Father has placed on you to give. And when He's ready for you to give it, it's important that you do it on His timing so that way their soul is ready to ferment that seed.
So she said so much. One thing she said was it's okay to not have an answer because there's power in silence sometimes. Sometimes silence is your victory. Because sometimes you won't say anything because you know that person came at you the wrong way and they know it, and it'll just sit and it'll marinate. Next thing you know, you get a call. Yeah. You'll get like a novel of a text message, and they're apologizing for everything. But that's because you decided to wait on Yahuwah, you know, and lean on to your own understanding. But a lot of times we're like, nah, you gonna get my understanding right now. Yeah. No, this battle mine. When the Most High said the battle is not yours, it's mine. Like He tells us these things, and we don't really sit and rest in that. We don't really trust in that because we like, nah, I ain't no punk. You ain't about to try me like that.
Sound of silence is definitely.
Bro, it's volumes. But when you're not raised in a society culturally for 400 plus years, when you don't know how to communicate any other way, that's what happens. That's when you talk about coming out of her, you got to come out of all of her. Because there's no way you can talk loving and be kind to everybody else but your own people, which is a reflection of you. You can't do it. Yeah. That ain't right. That ain't what the Most High wants, because you know that's a part of His Son's bride. You got to think about that. Again, the right arm is not supposed to hate the left arm. Yeah. You got to prefer one another. And it talks about a friend loveth at all times and a brother is born for adversity. Y'all know adversity is coming. For instance, Iran aims to form joint currency with BRICS nations. So we talked about BRICS before. Yeah. So this was in early January. It says Iran's deputy foreign minister Mahdi Safaria said on January the 3rd that Tehran is interested in forming a unified currency with member states of BRICS group of emerging economies. So this is going to be in direct opposition to whose economy? Okay. We are interested in creating a unified currency in the BRICS group. And this could be very effective, Mahdi Safari said in an interview with Sputnik. By using national currencies, the process of eliminating the issue of the use of the dollar in commercial exchanges begins, and we are interested in continuing this process. So that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to completely get rid of the dollar. So you know this war is coming. We know it's coming. The minister added that Tehran hopes to serve as a banking center for BRICS nations. So they're letting it be known like, yeah, we're going to bank through us instead of, was it Switzerland or Geneva or wherever they're doing it now, right? Let me go back. My bad. He also praised the role of the new development bank established in BRICS nations in 2014 to support joint projects and international cooperation. Shabbat shalom. Safari highlighted the positive role BRICS can play in terms of energy. The most important problem is represented by 3 issues. The first is energy production, second, energy transfer, and third is energy consumption, right? So that's what they're worried about, energy. So that's what a lot of stuff's going on is really about. It says the annual BRICS summit was held in August last year. During the summit, Iran was one of the 6 countries officially invited to join BRICS, the group of nations alongside Argentina, Egypt, Ethiopia, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE. So we know that this conglomerate of nations is getting ready to take down this whore of Babylon, which is America. During the summit, discussions were held regarding the establishment of a joint currency. These plans have been underway for some time and have now accelerated with the aim of countering the homogeny of the US dollar. So the control, the power of the United States. So now everything is starting to speed up. So we've seen it since the beginning of 2024. This has been the year of exposure. And this is going to be a year of acceleration. We know that there's an eclipse coming that's going to complete the X all the way through the United States. So we know judgment is coming on this place, right?
It's ironic that they use this button.
Oh,
Yeah. And we're going to talk about Russia here in a second. Just let me get through this part. It says, BRICS countries have recently stepped up trade in local currencies in order to strengthen their economies and counter the greenback. Safari's comments come just 2 days after the chairmanship of BRICS was officially handed over from South Africa to Russia. Now, you know that Russia wants to take this place down. And now the head of this BRICS is Russia for this next year. Over recent months, Jeremiah, grab a microphone. Both Russia and China have sought to expand the BRICS group. So Russia and China, in an attempt to forge closer ties with South America and Western Asia. The North American continent is literally becoming surrounded economically. A war is coming. People don't think the stuff's going to end up being here. If all of these nations, including South America, that's right there. Our neighbors. Come on, man. Wake up, people. Adversity. So, again, this is about preferring one another and loving one another at all times. All times. It says BRICS member states comprise 40% of the global population and nearly a third of the world's economy. Last year, BRICS outpaced the GDP of the United States-led GS summit. So they're already doing better economically than the United States is. Already. It says during the BRICS summit on August 24th of 2023, Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi described the 11-member BRICS as a symbol of change. He then underscored what he called were the historic advantages that Iran's inclusion in the economic bloc would bring, noting that it marks a new step towards establishing justice, ethics, and sustainable peace in the world. So they're talking about a whole different kind of peace. They're talking about a whole different kind of leadership. And we think it's been bad under the United States. Imagine it being China and Russia and all these other conglomerates, communist countries. Yeah. So talk about, since you got the mic, you were talking. What else were you talking about with BRICS? So you were just talking about this, right?
Yeah, that's all I was talking about.
What else is going on in the world that you were telling me about?
What else was it? All the different little mini wars going on.
Yeah, let's talk about those wars.
Like
So
back and forth.
so the Hutus are attacking who?
Well, different boats that come with supplies, over there in that ocean part over there. But also, they've been attacking the U.S. Navy.
Now-
The Navy has shot down a lot of the missiles, but we've been shooting at them too. And we hit like 14 other different main shooting spots for their drones and their missiles and all that, their shooting sites, whatever. So yeah, the Hutus, and also the Hutus are also going after Israel, also. So they're over there in Lebanon, but they're really from Iran. So.
And we were just talking about Iran.
Yeah.
And again, the chairmanship of BRICS is now held by Russia. So they're the ones in charge. And we know that's why all these spy movies, all the TV shows always talking about the Russian sleeper cells, and they end up, coming over and taking over. Russia or China or somebody. So adversity is coming. So again, we got to be able to get past petty little differences and prefer one another at all times. Love one another at all times. Talked about what is a friend, right? A friend is Rhea, right? H7453. It means neighbor, friend, another, fellow, companion, right? Everything that we were just talking about. Friend, neighbor, and brother. All of these things are the same in this, right? Fellow citizen. Got to have love. Got to know who you can trust. You got to know those who labor among you. So we were in Proverbs 17. Now we're going to go to Proverbs 18. And Jeremiah, if you don't mind, we're going to read verses 17 through 19.
He that is first in his own cause seemeth just, but his neighbor cometh and searcheth him.
So if you're first in your own cause, what does that mean? You think you're right in your own eyes.
Whatever you're doing, you know it's the right thing.
Uh-huh.
Because you have something to do with it.
Uh-huh.
You know it's just.
But what is a neighbor or a brother or a friend supposed to do?
Tell you if you're wrong or right. Tell you if you're wrong or right.
So they're supposed to correct you when you're wrong.
Right.
Again, we don't like being corrected, though, if we are wrong. And then sometimes if somebody tries to correct you and then you weren't wrong and then you correct them on that, they don't like that. Like, wait, hold on. Oh, I was wrong? Oh, my bad.
It's all about being embarrassed too. They don't want to be embarrassed also.
A lot of times, like we were just talking about, it's about pride. And then people just want to have, like, for lack of a better term, a headship. Want to be seen as being in charge, being a man. So if I'm the man, I can't be wrong because it's my word. Like, your word don't mean nothing. Like, if you're wrong, wrong is wrong, period. It don't matter if you're rich, if you're poor, if you're the head or the tail. It don't matter. If you're wrong, you're wrong. Okay, keep going.
The lot causes contentions to cease,
Right? So that they used to cast lots to make decisions, right?
and parteth between the mighty. A brother offended is harder to be won than a strong city. Of course it is. Of course it is.
Finish this verse and then talk about you and
Who?
Pratt.
Oh, and their contentions are like the bars of a castle.
So talk about the situation. You didn't talk to him for years. You ain't got to say his name, but talk about what happened, what led to it.
I mean, all it was is just, he ended up becoming a preacher, and I felt like he thought he was better than me, and we had different.
Did he say anything to make you think that he was better than
I
you?
just felt that way. I just felt that way.
So where do these feelings come from? Where do these thoughts come from?
In me, I don't know.
So an insecurity in you, and then you superimpose that on him.
Yeah.
He didn't do nothing wrong,
At all.
and you didn't talk to him for years.
Years, best friends.
Huh?
Best
And
friends.
you was what? You was offended
Yeah.
at him. You think you better than me. He was offended.
Well, it was like different times I would text him or call him, and either somebody would answer, but I'll call you back, and never call me back, or wouldn't answer the phone, wouldn't answer my texts or whatever. So I felt like since he was, being a preacher now and got his own church, that he changed who he's gonna be around.
Right.
I mean, it took me a while to realize that whenever you elevating, sometimes you can't always bring everybody with you.
It's not even that.
Everybody's on a different pace. That's what I mean.
And then sometimes you really don't have that time because you're talking about a guy that's got a whole full family,
Yeah.
working full time
Yeah.
and full time ministry.
Yeah. And what I was into, you can't mix that with it.
So now you're being honest,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, we're talking. That's why we cool now. But I know now. But it took me a while to realize that.
Uh-huh.
'Cause I was mad.
Giving them that grace.
Yeah.
Hmm?
It's that grace. So
It is that grace.
I have friends that we don't get together all the time. We don't, they might text me. I might text and they might not text within a week or so. But like I'm like, hey, I know you're busy. If I'm busy, I know y'all busy.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just kind of going back to where like they're more likely busy. And if if I do feel some type of way, I'm, approach it, how you need to. Like, hey, sis, what's going on? Or is everything okay?
Yeah.
Not, hey, why are you the one? Because, something might, happen. So that just goes back to that grace.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Bam.
No, I'm saying that. I said, if somebody to hear it again, that's me. Like, I'm like you. If I got a rule. If I hit you 3 times and you hit me back,
Bam.
I don't care if it's text message, call. If I see you on wave, if you don't hit me back, you delete it.
Yeah.
You didn't talk to me for almost a
A
year.
Really?
Yes.
Because of that?
It was so, yes.
I think I was working and going to school, so I wasn't
I hit
really.
him like 2 or 3 times. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I see what this is.
Like, changed up, huh?
Right. But like, one thing he did do, he did tell, he was like, hey, sometimes I be busy.
Yeah.
He was, like, I think he had just got out, he got into school and he was working, so he was like, if I don't hit y'all back, don't take offense.
Yeah.
And he
I
warned
literally
me.
told people that.
And you get what I did. Took all offense.
I didn't even know he was mad at me. Like, I was like, what? He literally had to tell me, yeah, I'm mad at you, right?
What I do?
What?
I hit you up on 1996 at 7 o'clock.
What? He literally told me, I had no idea, like, really, real deal got mad at me. I'm like, oh, this is wow. I had no idea.
Same kind of situation. Same dude.
Yeah.
He drive past my house. I'm waving frantic, like, hey!
Yeah.
And he looking like, I don't know you, but I didn't know he was in his head.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was going through some stuff.
Yeah.
He was non-vocal,
Yeah.
non-verbal. I had no idea, and I'm like, this dude don't like me. All right, bet, delete.
Yeah.
I ain't even going to Shabbat. Nope. I'm cool on this dude, right? Man, and Bam hit me up. Hey, where you been? I ain't dealing with him.
Yeah.
Hey, why you ain't dealing with him? Man, he don't deal with me. Nah, I'm cool on him.
Yeah.
Like, that's how I legitimately felt.
Yeah.
Communication, yada yada yada, and it was all what we talked about before.
Yeah.
And then I had to come to the realization that it was me not reaching out to find out what was going on with you.
Yeah.
Even though my frantic waves, I didn't send a text message to say, hey bro, you good? No, I was just waving like, hi! But yeah, that's it.
But yeah, you never know what somebody else is going through.
Yeah,
It could be
man. I had
school, it could be
no
work.
clue, no idea.
It could be a new family going through, and you just never know. Everybody got different, so they're going through a different time, so, it's just crazy, man. But like I said, once I seen bro at the gas station, I had parked right beside him, and we both get gas at the same time. We decided to go out to eat and just talk about everything, and that's how we talked like 2 hours while we was eating, and got everything squashed or whatever. So it was a big misunderstanding, and I didn't realize what he had going on because he was in school also again. Plus he was working a full-time job.
Yep.
A marriage, just had his second kid.
Yeah.
Plus he's pastoring a whole church.
Yeah.
So yeah. I was like, wow. It was crazy, man. It was crazy. We straight now.
That's what's up. Read 24.
Oh yeah. A man that have friends must shew himself friendly, and there is a friend that sticketh closer than a brother.
This one's pretty much self-explanatory, but like if you look at that word friendly, it don't necessarily mean friendly. It means like you gotta show yourself not being wickedly, but closer than a brother. So that means like that's your ace, your right hand man. You know what I'm saying? Literally. And because I was like, why is y'all beefing? What happened? I was talking. He was like, I don't know. He beefing with me. I don't know what he mad about. I don't
I
know.
put posts on Facebook.
Bro, like sending shots online. It was real.
Subliminal shots.
Look, that was like that 50 Cent Ja Rule beef. They're like sending it through the airwaves. Like for real. Like that was the new wave. That was the Biggie and Pac. East Coast, West Coast. Like
he did say, he would say something back, but we go back and forth for a little bit.
yeah, of course.
It took some years for me to get over that stuff. I had to grow up.
And sometimes we gotta admit that maybe we just weren't mature enough to handle the type of, like you said, he's getting elevated, the type of relationship that it has evolved into.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's a wake-up call for you. Well, I need to elevate more.
Yeah.
Wasn't ready for that seed to be planted.
Yeah. I know I was still in the streets.
Boy.
Doing other stuff.
boy.
And he couldn't be seen with that. You got a
No.
brand new church that you pastor.
Right.
Yeah.
'Cause-
I'm thinking we best friends in second grade. You should look over all that. But
No,
do that.
you can't. You can't. You can't.
You can't mix oil and water together.
No, you can't. You definitely can't do that. So we're gonna go to Proverbs 27, right? And we're gonna read verses 4 through 6, and then verse 10.
Wrath is cruel and anger is outrageous. But who is able to stand before envy?
What is envy?
When you envious of somebody, like kind of like jealousy.
Jealousy. So what is jealousy?
Like jealousy. Envious of
See,
somebody.
but like, what are they though? Without using those two words,
Feeling.
huh? It is a feeling. It's an emotion. You want something that somebody else has,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And because they have it, you feel some type of way.
Yeah.
Is that what coveting?
Coveting. That's exactly. It's the same thing. You because they have something that you don't, or maybe they got something that you want. You don't like them because they got it. Instead of being happy for them, so the Most High can bless you.
Yeah.
Because it says wrath is cruel. So wrath is a cruel thing, and anger is outrageous. Anger is ridiculous, bro.
Yeah.
But who can stand before envy?
So I just thought about it because I used to watch this show once upon a time. They used to be like green with envy. And is envy is it that you want that, or is it just the fact that you don't want them to have it?
Both.
Both. Yeah.
It's not just because they have it. It's because you don't want
them.
them.
Even if you don't want it, I just don't want you to live like me.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Sound like something from Dave Chappelle. If you got hate in your heart, let it out.
It's just like when you got some of my best friends, but you always get the most out of everybody.
Yeah.
And when they start getting more than you feel.
No, you feel slight.
Like some type of way, like why them?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
How dare you? So,
why would they get it when I'm me? Like I'm him,
That's a spirit
huh?
up for you.
I don't know what that is. I don't even know what it is.
it's an elderberry.
But that's jealousy or envy.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't. If you're gonna eat, I wouldn't drink that. I'd wait until either before or after. Yeah, I wouldn't do that. Probably, yeah. So, because envy. So, the lesson we're going to get into is really going to be about watching and making sure that we don't have an envious or covetous spirit on us, that lustful spirit, because that causes you to have those crazy imaginations like you were talking about. You created a whole scenario like y'all was really beefing in your own head.
Yeah, he think he better than me. He higher than me. Like, oh man.
Bro, and then that comes down to that sound mind. You're not bringing your thoughts into subjection. Like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
we've been acing since we was knee high to a nickel. Red light, green light.
Literally, yeah.
Red light, green light, and then now we beefing. Even though he ain't really said nothing to me, but yeah, we beefing though. It's real.
But sometimes silence can be strong though. You just don't know what's going on the other side.
Yeah, but most of the silence came from you though. That was a crazy part. He was like, I don't know. He won't talk to me because then he would try to call you. You wouldn't answer.
I would.
Out
He
of-
would answer my phone
out of
call,
spite.
I'm calling him.
I want that.
Yeah. When I call him and text him, he didn't respond. Or he might say, I'll hit you back. And
He
never
busy.
do.
Yeah, he busy.
Yeah.
Which it happens.
I
You-
understand.
yeah,
But that goes back to like not avengers. Like even when people do you wrong,
Yeah.
you still operate in love.
Yeah.
You still show. But the Most High he gonna make it come back full circle if it's meant to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you will be okay with this person wronged me. It's okay. You know, or I feel like they
Or
wronged
you
me.
feel it, 'cause-
It's okay.
Yeah.
So no matter what the situation is, the Most High gonna have it. It's gonna be okay.
So yeah, my camera keeps doing it. I don't know why it keeps doing it. My bad. But so back to it, right? Then so make sure that you're always guarding that spirit of envy. So then we're talking about verse 5. Read that, Jeremiah. Go ahead.
Open rebuke is better than secret love.
So what does that mean?
Out in the open. Let somebody know.
Let's just air all this laundry out here. Let's just get it
All
over
your
with.
grievances out in the open.
Yeah, let's just go ahead and get it over with so we can move past this, right? Because that should be a good thing, but you still have got to know how you talk to people.
Tactful. Be tactful.
Say that again. So in the military, you
Tactful.
learn that. So in your own definition, what does it mean to be tactful?
Learning how to say something to somebody in a constructive way.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
That's perfect. So it's not overly emotional
It's not harsh.
because a lot of people are hyper emotional, especially our people, especially nowadays.
You have to find out who they are and do it on their level.
Yeah.
It's a professional way to call somebody a turd.
There is. There definitely is.
Being less than exemplary. I need you to operate at a higher level. You're being less than exemplary.
Your frequency is very, very low right now.
The frequency is low in this one.
Freaking fly by.
Say what?
Flyer
miles. Okay, that's a new one.
Oh, goodness.
Okay. Frequent flyer miles. Okay, so it says faithful are the wounds of a friend, but the kisses of an enemy are deceitful. Because when a friend, wounds you, but faithful, it helps you though. It like that's a helpful type of hurt. Because sometimes when you just been out of pocket for too long and they let you know about yourself and you know it's out of love, that's what brings you back to who you're supposed to be.
I've been called out by a message before.
That like those, especially those last anniversary we ran, it's like, a lot of us, we want those friends who were gonna applaud what we were doing wrong. And to me, that is what that is telling you not to do. Is like,
Yes, ma'am.
if you're a real friend and if you really love them, your words might hurt in a sense, even because they're doing wrong. You might come with the softest, the most down to earth type of information for them, and it's gonna hurt them because they're like, dang, I thought you were supposed to be my friend, and here you are chastising me or getting on to me. But in the long run, that's gonna help them grow. And so, like, a lot of times, especially nowadays, you see it. They want friends that are gonna applaud their wrongdoing.
Mm-hmm.
And if you love them, you're gonna say, hey, I have to tell you because I love you.
Mm-hmm.
And go forward with it, even if it stings, because the truth is gonna sting you. If you're doing wrong, it's gonna sting you. But in the reality, they're gonna be thinking like, man, they were right.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Like you said, people, especially now time, they want yes men.
Mm-hmm.
You never do wrong. Everything's always good, But when you've been messing up, because when you've been messing up, but when you ain't got like some of my army buddies, like we're known, like we get out of pocket, like nah, you wild, you wildin', Yeah, for real, right? Even me and Jeremiah, Man, it says ointment and perfume rejoice the heart. So does the sweetness of a man's friend by hearty counsel. Because you don't need, if all you have is yes men, you need a whole new circle.
Yes.
Because that's a big no. Because iron's supposed to sharpen iron. Because if you got yes men, then your blade is dull. Because ain't no correction, ain't no corrective actions happening, right? So then it says, thine own friend and thy father's friend forsake not. Neither go into thy brother's house in the day of your calamity. For better is a neighbor that is near than a brother afar off. So make sure that you're making sure that your relationship is good with people.
And then it said, not even just the relationship you build, but the relationship that people build before you. It said about fathers. And then people don't understand how you can, like you said, you can burn a bridge that ain't even yours to burn.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You done severed the Hatfields and McCoys.
Yeah, like you said, you just said with generational ties. Like you said, like you never know what these people. You said it earlier about kind of like what they can bring to the table,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and you can just like you said that breeze burnt to a crisp.
Done.
No way around it.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Mind you, that's the person that does, huh?
They still need.
Oh yeah. They beef until the end.
Oh, that ain't last time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They be set tripping, man. Yeah, they made a movie and TV show about it, but yeah, that was real. Yeah, it was based off a real. That was a literal blood feud. That's like Jacob and Esau.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Hate us because they ain't us, to be honest. I mean, they hate us because they ain't us. Too, if we're being honest. So when you're talking about openly rebuking somebody, when you're talking about judging righteously between people, one thing you have to know is how to have effective communication. So I'm gonna ask y'all, what is effective communication? Brandon.
He was picking on me.
I'm gonna roll what Jeremiah was saying.
Oh yeah, what'd he say?
Being tactful. If I'm having to communicate with someone and I'm having to
Bam.
to correct said person. And, it would behoove me to, it would be, oh, okay. It would behoove me to, know my audience, read the room, and give them words that they could accept, rather than being like, I can't talk to everybody like they're Marine.
True.
I have had to learn.
So, hold on.
that
Let me stop you. So in the military, they call that what? Situational
Awareness.
awareness. So do we practice situational awareness when we're dealing with our own people?
No.
No.
But you gotta read the room though. You got to a lot of times.
Like, and we're talking, that's like a basic thing. Like, okay, if I'm talking to them like this, maybe I sound too intelligent. Maybe they're gonna think I'm talking down to them, or maybe I'm coming at them too hard. Maybe I'm cussing too much. You know, do we really take the time to really, like you said, know the audience?
But wouldn't it, okay, with that being said, wouldn't it be advantageous of me to use words that way around people who would otherwise get mad people get mad at me for using words that I learned. And the way I look at it is, you're not mad at me for using words that I learned, you're mad at you for not knowing what these words are, rather than asking
So,
what they mean, you're mad at you for not knowing.
I have a question.
I have an answer.
So, you said people get mad at you for using words that they don't know. So how can they understand it?
I literally,
Because
in the middle of my sentence, when I use a word, if I know I'm speaking to somebody who does not understand, I will use that word, and then I will break that word down and
Yeah.
continue the sentence.
Now, the people that you're talking to, do they like it when you do that?
Nah, I don't care.
You have to care.
Situational
That's the thing,
awareness.
though, like, I'm supposed to each one teach one, right?
Huh?
My job is to teach.
How can you
Hold on.
see that they're
So-
not
But
understanding?
sometimes
Yeah.
Hold on,
That's
hold
what
on.
Paul would do.
But hold on. The key is not you making your point. Effective communication. It's not how you want to speak.
Right.
It's not how they may perceive.
Why would I want to dumb?
Everybody not on your level.
Because like
I'm not
this
even
one,
say dumb it down. Make it to where it makes sense to
like
them.
they said layman terms, right? Put it on layman terms. But to be effective,
You see the difference?
like you said, prime example, like you said, dumb it down, layman terms, same thing. One is well smoothed over.
Like, you're not gonna explain a situation to us the same way you would explain to your children. So we're not gonna say it's dumbing down, because if you're trying to teach your children what effective communication is, you're gonna sit there and break it down to where they can understand it with their little minds, like, oh, okay. So I'm gonna say, hey, Bryce, in order for us to help you, you have to, number one, speak to us and clearly, so that way we can understand how to help you. And while he's talking, I have to effectively listen to him and get an understanding of how he's feeling, what he's dealing with, so that way we can talk about it and come to a conclusion. So when you're effective communicating, it's not that you're dumbing yourself down, it's you're helping whoever your seed is that you're pouring into understand, hey, this is what needs to be done. So like, everybody, well, almost everybody's in the military in here, when you're trying to get a unit to do
Shots.
something, a squad to do something, you literally have to come into layman terms and say, okay, how can I take what my first sergeant or my commander told me to do and tell them to do when everybody's not on the same education level? So you have to basically come up with a plan. Okay, this is what we're gonna do. This is how you might not be able to say execute. You might be able to say, hey, this is what our task is, or this is what our duty today is. So you just have to bring those words in to where everybody's understanding on that level, because it's not about your level, it's about their level and getting what they're trying to tell you something. That means you gotta open your ears up to listen. So effective communication
Go both ways. It's a two-way street.
You gotta be able to talk and listen.
So, yeah, because effective listening is definitely.
We call that listening.
In comedy, they got a thing that where they just say, read the room.
Yes.
So, especially if it's somebody, every time you're talking to them, it's the same, you come with them with the same approach, and you get the same result, that means you need to adjust the approach.
Okay,
They said that look like
that's the definition of insanity. Yeah, thank you very much. That's the definition.
No.
of insanity.
No.
Keeping the same process now.
Yeah, with the same results, yes.
No, so that's not what he's saying.
No. If you're a comedian, let me break this down.
Yeah,
If you're a comedian,
What?
if you're getting
Doing
up
the same
there,
thing,
you're doing
speaking
the
of
same
the
thing. And every show, they're not laughing, they're not clapping, they're just looking at you like, oh, you got maybe a couple in there just hee-heeing, but they probably laughing at you because you're not funny, and you keep doing this. You have to come to a different approach. You might have to change some jokes up. You might have to feel like, okay, who's actually coming to my shows? What jokes do I need to tell to get my crowd laughing? Because you want results. And you should know this. You're an artist. So
Different results.
when you go to a poetry show, if you're speaking, and we've talked about this, if whatever show you're
Bang,
going to, like when
bang.
I go to some shows, like there's a place I go in Tulsa that they invite me to like every spring. When I go in there, I have to come with not just a poem, but a story behind my poem. And the people that I'm talking to, they expect that storyline along with my poem. And I have to know, okay, this is not just like, I can't go out here and speak this in the hood. Like, I can't. Like, that's not going to happen. So you have to pick and choose, like, okay, how am I going to present this poem that they can understand? What can I bring to this to, make them understand what I'm trying to tell them through my words. So it's not about me no more. It's about how can I present this so they can understand it.
Articulation.
Articulation is a part of it, but when you talk about preferring one another, again, you learn how other people learn. So you get it to them in a digestible way for them. Like, okay, it's not a way to where, because if you keep giving these people the same way, and then arguments come because you use these words that they don't understand, and then they feel like you're talking down to them. So then they're already standoffish and they're offended. Good luck trying to get them once they're offended.
Yeah.
Would I be?
I think the part that y'all may have missed is that when I'm speaking, I'll, like, if I say a word that somebody doesn't understand, I'll break down that word. I'll say, oh, that's what I meant by that is this. And they'll be like, oh, okay, well, why didn't you say that? I'm like, well, I'm here to teach you something. I've come to the conclusion that I'm never anywhere that I'm not supposed to be. I'm where I'm supposed to be at all times because I'm there to learn something, I'm there to teach something, I'm there to get something, I'm there to give something. Something, Most High has me there for a reason, for something. So with that being said, if I'm having a conversation with somebody and they don't understand what I'm saying, then I just taught you something. Take it with you.
Everybody doesn't learn like that.
I was just finna say
And
that's very offensive too. That's like, and I know you, even though you mean it's very offensive.
Right, because in their head they're like, well, why did he just say that? Now I feel dumb. And they took
The whole lesson.
whole
of it,
situation.
yeah.
Anyways, what I was going to try to say is, do you think this would work if someone was legitimately coming to you, they're on the verge of suicide, do you really think they weren't going to come talk to you and you're saying all these big words? And at that moment, they just need someone to talk to so that way they can tell you how they feel and you're popping off with these big words. Do you think that's going to be effective in with that situation?
No.
Yeah, and so like what I have told my cousin, you know what I mean, because there's a big gap in between them, their children. I'm like right in the middle, and parents and kids, how that is. But like I said, I'm in the middle. Like I was always telling him, you got to speak other people's language, cause like what you be saying is correct. You know what I mean? You're not wrong,
Right.
but whatever you're saying is not. They're not receiving it. So you need to learn how to speak their language, not how you want to come at them.
Right.
Now you can teach, like she said, you can teach. It's going to be multiple teachable moments, but if you offend somebody, you cut that short. And I get what you're saying, 'cause like I said, I'm learning. I'm 100% like that. And when I get angry, that's when my big words come out. Like I said, people don't understand how intelligent I am because I joke and I play a lot. But when I'm upset, that's when I use my articulate words. And people, I get real offensive, and I do it on purpose. And and my point is, I'm trying to strike something because now you done made me upset. I ain't gonna say, but you done made me upset. Now I'm trying to strike something because I'm trying, like you said, I'm trying to teach in this moment because we having a discourse about something that you're ignorant about because you don't have the knowledge, and that's what ignorance means. But I use that word ignorant to strike. Because now I'm mad. Now I'm finna make you mad. And I got to stop doing that.
Now you have to make a point.
And like I said, my points be valid. So I always come back. Like you said, I apologize constantly. I apologize to my kids' mama, stuff I said 10, 15 years ago. Today, I'm sorry, you know. I hate the way I said that, but this is what I was, like I said, the teachable moment still arises. And she'll be like, okay, I get it, you know. In that moment, nah, you was, and I'm that guy.
It's hard to change that though.
It's very
Like,
hard.
And Randy, you know, like we've been friends for years, and I mean, I came and told him some stuff. Mind you, the time I told her, I was like, well, I'm not trying to be offensive. That's how I see it.
Yeah,
But it hurt him.
it was
I mean,
very
he got
offensive,
involved,
yes.
But you know what I'm saying? Like later, and once I started walking in the truth, I was like, I can't be coming at people like that.
Exactly.
So I started working on it, and it's hard because you're so used to just being so blunt and I think.
Look, it's multiple
Yeah,
multiple
it's just
times.
like, you just want to say what you say on your mind, and it's so hard not to. And you're like, you know what, I gotta step back. That's why I'm so careful now about what I say because I'm like, I don't want to cause any arguments. Like I don't want to cause strife. I want them to, you know, feel like they're being heard, and then also I want to give them positive things, something that's gonna feed into them, not tear
Exactly.
them down.
And this is crazy. Like I said you didn't know that until you came into the truth. Literally, I ain't know some of this stuff until, and I heard it before. Like I said, Manny was telling me a couple times. Other people told me, but when you spoke those words, it resonated. And then like scriptures coming up about like don't offend your brother. You know what I mean? Things like that, and like that's bad. You know, like I said, when hearing him talking, I'm like, bro, that's offensive. Like I'm talking to myself, like, oh. And I use this all the time. This is one of my sharp edge points. You don't know how to effective communicate.
Yes.
And I'm like, no, we need to communicate effective. And I use that exact term, not knowing me using it, I'm not communicating effectively.
Just saying the word.
I'm just saying the words, lip service. And I'm just trying to get my point across, and it's not a conversation. Like you said, that's just me harboring off words and rah, 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 rah. And I'm not listening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If anybody watching, my bad, but I'm gonna do better. I'm going to do better.
We all are. I mean, it's a learning thing. Like and everybody's at fault for it. We've all done this, whether it be to our children, to our spouses, to our friends.
Oh, I do the
We've
two.
all done this. So I mean, it's just a matter of every moment we gotta just remember what the Father wants us to do and how He wants us to communicate.
Exactly.
Go to the next slide. So, Jeremiah, you mind reading this one?
Yep. What is effective communication? Effective communication definition is the process of exchanging or transmitting ideas, information, thoughts, knowledge, data, opinion, or messages from the sender through a selected method or channel to the receiver with a purpose that can be understood with clarity.
So, the whole point of effective communication is to make sure it's clear.
Clear.
Concise. No debates, no confusion, no nothing.
And see, that's what I love right here. And method of challenge.
Yeah.
You can't see nobody that text message with a walkie-talkie. You can't be talking to the walkie-talkie and say, like, bro, I text you, bro.
Yeah. You can't talk
And
to
that-
people in a language they don't understand.
And that's what we do a lot. No, I'm just saying, like, you see how crazy that sounded?
Man, like, what's he saying? What's he talking about?
Let's go. We're working on it.
3 o'clock.
We working.
I can talk to text and tell them.
No. I said talking through a walkie-talkie. I'm saying go get you a walkie-talkie and say, hey, bro, meet me out here. And then like, man, I text you. Like, your method and your channel was not the same. Like you said. And that's what, like, that's the key. Like I said, not speaking people's language. Like you said, reading the room and still not being able to articulate your point or your message, so to speak.
So, like, most of us were raised in the church.
Mm-hmm.
And if you remember anything about the church, most of them have all these cliques. People don't like each other. People backbiting and talking crazy about each other because they don't know how to effectively communicate.
Mm-hmm.
They create all these infatuations or fictitious imaginations about people that they don't like them. So I'm not gonna like them back.
Mm-hmm.
And all that stuff is literally in your doggone head. Because we don't take the time to actually learn about effective communication. It's not about communication. Communication means nothing if it's not effective.
Exactly.
Keep going.
The process of effective communication makes both the sender and receiver satisfied.
Now, whenever we're communicating, we're making sure that we're being respectful so everybody can be on good terms.
Mm-hmm.
taking the time to be like, okay, all right, so let me make sure I got this text message, let me make sure it's not offensive, let me make sure my point is getting across, and then still leaves leeway for me to actually be wrong. Like, are we taking that into account? Go ahead, man.
No, just like, it's like everything you saying, I literally do the opposite, and I gotta stop it. Because I just randomly, but like when I'm trying to make something be offensive,
Yeah.
I make sure I'm like, is that nah, that dagger didn't hit. Let me get the sword. Let me turn it up a little bit. And I got, like, bro, like this is a self-reflection. I love this.
You gonna make it hit different.
Mine, you gotta hit different.
It's different. All right.
I'm like, I done cut me. What? You still got your limb? Let me do it again.
It is a cyclic process that starts with the sender and also ends with the sender. Also ends with the sender as the sender receives a response or feedback from the receiver.
So what we just read, who is the most important part of effective communication?
The sender.
So if your message has been sent wrong, it is your fault.
Yep.
There is no getting around it.
Why are you looking
It
at me?
is your
Hey.
fault.
Prime example. People are infamous. Well, if that's how you take it, that ain't how I meant it. Well, you need to correct it.
I'll do that.
You got to correct, like you just said, like you said. It's your fault.
That's how you take it, and it's not my
But
fault.
with everything, everything you gotta have discernment. Some
Yeah.
people just don't want to hear truth, even if
Mhm.
you've taken your time. But if it's your habit to always be like, put yourself in a situation where people are like, well, I don't see it like that, then maybe that is you.
Mhm.
But when it comes to effective communication, the sender is the most important. So you gotta make sure that your message is tight. Tight. I wasn't looking at you, my bad.
And understandable.
Right? My bad, 'cause I was trying to look at your mind, but he's.
It's you overlooked me.
Alright, communication can occur in multiple forms, and the information can be communicated from one person to another in various ways. The different forms of communication can be stated as follows: verbal communication, nonverbal communication, written communication, visual communication.
So, when you talk about effective communication, everything's all about the sender, right?
Mhm.
So when you're sending this message, let's say you're talking to somebody, you gotta make sure that your nonverbal cues are on point also.
Yes.
Don't just say the right stuff. It kind of sounds like it's in the right spirit, but then you're standoffish.
Yeah.
You know, you over here doing this like,
Yes.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's all about the sender of the message. You gotta make sure everything lines up in you, in the message, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm not looking at you, Brett, I'm looking at your eyes.
Good, because everybody has different mannerisms when they try to get something across.
I was thinking about hand-arm signals being taken the wrong way.
Yeah, the people do that. I mean,
Right.
yeah.
He said it best. No, I didn't. I said, look.
We're looking at all these different ways to communicate. Verbal, nonverbal, that's so important. Written communication, text messages, visual communication. There's so many different modes or levels of communication, especially if you're face to face with somebody. You gotta make sure that you're not giving off disrespectful vibes.
Mhm.
One of the things I started doing recently,
If I send somebody a text message and I read through it and I see anything that can be taken wrong, I'll call them and say, listen, before you even read that, let me go through it with you.
Okay.
This is what I meant when I got to this part. Yada yada yada. We good? All right, cool. Now finish the rest of it. If you have any questions, call me back.
Mhm.
We're recording.
All right.
Go ahead, Javon, that was good.
These forms of communication can take place in person, over the phone, or through various digital platforms.
So, what happens when people text things to people?
Hey, people take stuff the wrong way through text messages all the time, especially if you put an exclamation point at the end.
Yes.
Or if you write
Or
all caps
capitalize
like I do.
everything.
Yeah, capitalize everything, or put it in parentheses or something.
That's why I don't use punctuation. I don't need no miss. It's just one big run-on sentence.
I do it, I ain't
If
gonna lie.
something important, the best thing to do is just to call them up and
Yeah.
talk to them about it.
Yep.
Because I'm an English major and what? Are you yelling at me?
Yeah, yeah.
Why are you yelling at me? Like,
Yeah.
hold on, give me a call. Like, are you mad? So, if it's important, just call them. It's just easier to do that.
Yeah.
And see,
That way it gets rid of confusion, like, no,
Yeah.
you said what?
Right.
and see,
What happened?
Yeah.
and then, like what Brandon was saying when he called, you know, like, hey, don't take this the wrong way. What I do is I be like disclaimer, or I said something like that, like
Warning.
just it's a warning. I'm not trying to argue, I'm trying to get information. Some people I talk to, that's an automatic trigger. Like, and I'm like, you crazy. You crazy. You is crazy. But I still
Don't
let
go front street like that.
I still, but no, I still say it. You know, like I said, disclaimer. Like, I don't want you taking the wrong way. Like I said, we can get through whatever. And soon as it turns left, that's when because I got to work on that.
Yeah.
But Father help me. That's hard. They're gonna be hard.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
It takes some effort, man. It takes some time. Everybody.
Yeah.
I gotta work.
Oh, that was it. You done with it?
No, he's not done.
While the effectiveness of your communication can vary, it affects your personal area in various ways. The more effective your communication will be, the more you'll be good at your work and personal aspects.
So when we talk about work and personal aspects, right? Dealing with people on a regular basis with the brethren, trying to have group economics, trying to become a tribe or a nation. That's something that we should actively be working on. Effectively communicating. Because we've been raised as the son of an Amorite, and hyper emotionalism is like the norm. And we gotta get away from that, because we were never really like that. But in America, everything like emotionalism, especially men, emotionalism, they literally like force feed that down our throats in everything, like we're supposed to be. You know, we don't take the time like Master Jones was talking about to think before we speak, to listen to that still small voice, and sometimes just to wait to respond. We don't. No, I feel this way right now, so you gonna know about it now.
You got
It's
it.
gonna be on 10.
Right
I'll
now.
tell you right now, I ain't gonna wait till later on.
Man, right now you gotta listen. You fresh, hot off the press.
I'm gonna get it right out the way right now.
Say what?
I'll get it out the way right now.
Bruh, like that, and then that's why we have so many bridges that get burned
Yeah, that's
for no
true.
reason, and it be about nothing.
Yeah.
Next slide.
I like my beef hot, man. The fresh out the skin. I don't let it rest
You
or
like
nothing.
fresh beef.
Fresh beef.
So we're gonna go over some tactics for effective communication. Who wants to read this one?
Manny.
You know what's coming.
So the first tactic for effective communication is called clear. When you are trying to build effective communication, you must ensure that your communication is clear and the receiver does not have to assume things to interpret your message.
Man, this is
So
good.
don't be using words they don't understand to where you have to explain it.
Yeah.
That's the first one. That's not me.
They gotta
That's
assume,
not
they
me.
gotta assume you're saying something
Yeah,
like this.
and they have to assume you're not being condescending and
Yeah.
talking down to them. So the first thing, your message has got to be clear. Then it says, clear communication helps to save time and effort from both ends. Do not try to gather too much information in one single communication. And that's another thing, communication or information overload. Like, no, like chill out. This is the thing that we're talking about. Don't be bringing other stuff into this. Like, no, this is it. Don't, like, go ahead, man.
Man. Well, what's up, man?
Huh?
You all right? You got
No,
a,
this
you
is
got a
about
full,
me too. This ain't just you.
you
This
got a
is
full
me.
clip on me, don't you? Hey, that's me. Hey, but this is good. I'm gonna have to come back to this a couple times. Cause
It
this is,
says, do not try to gather too much information in one single communication. This will lead to disruption in the understanding of the receiver. Make the communication clear and to the point. Don't go all the way around talking about 50, 11 other things and come
Man,
back. And
come
then you
back.
remember what you was talking about, and then it seems like you're right.
hey,
Because that is a tactic that some people will try to use. And you have to be like, wait a minute.
I
What
think
are we talking about again?
I mastered it. And then I make them feel bad because I'm
Boy.
like, what you talking about? Like, what you mean? What you mean?
I mean, all the way around the world. Just like,
Man.
man, you still ain't found Carmen San Diego. Don't make no sense. Don't make no sense.
She
at all.
right by water.
Look, Brandon, read this next one. It's clear. Is that clear but clear?
Yeah.
Yes, clear.
Not ever clear, but it's clear.
Yeah.
Done and clear. 2, correct. Always make sure that your communication is correct. As a professional, you may have to write a lot of emails in a single day, which often causes typing mistakes. I said tipping. Wow. Make sure you get rid of these mistakes and that there is no disturbance in your communication, no disruption in the cycle of operations. Apply spell check and proofread your message before communicating it to the receiver. Do not spell the name of the receiver incorrect. Oh,
Disrespectful.
get my name right.
Disrespectful.
Ooh, I cannot stand when people put a daggone comma, hyphen, or anything when they write Souls Ink Pen. It's literally the letters. SOLSINKPEN.
All together.
Souls Ink Pen.
That's not hard at all.
Is it all together?
They'll put a comma, they'll put a hyphen, they'll put a little over the end. I'm like, bro, no, I look Mexican, but I'm not.
You do look.
And I'm like, but anyway, I digress. Do
That's
not
why you
spell the
said
name of the
tipping.
receiver incorrectly, and ensure that the technical terms that you are using are understandable to the receiver.
Mm-hmm.
That goes back to my point. Whenever I use a technical term, I always make sure that it's understood.
That's not what they're saying.
I'm not trying to be condescending.
That's not what they're saying.
It's clear to them, though.
Yeah, I make it clear.
No, to them, not
I
to
make
your
it, I know, I
understanding.
make it, alright, yeah, alright, but I make it clear to them. I'm not trying to sound pompous.
But you are, that you are.
So, hold on, go back.
Look,
So-
condescending.
We know it's correct.
The one thing about correct information is you need to vet the information.
Yeah.
Don't just let it be correct in your own eyes. Because we're like, oh yeah, no, this is right. I heard somebody say something about this, so this gotta be it.
Nah, this
No,
is it.
Take the time to do because that's what correct is all about. You go back and you spell check everything. You make sure that there's nothing wrong, and you make sure your information is correct. Because a lot of times we get into emotionalism, and because emotionally or maybe legally it's right, but is it right spiritually or ethically?
So is the morals in check?
Yeah, are we really taking that time? So effective communication is all about taking time. It's not about hurry up and get these emotions out, this, and that, right then and there. You gotta take your time and make sure that it's thorough and concise, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then next slide. Go ahead.
And understandable.
Of course, that's correct.
Because I know I be typing, people gonna be reading my stuff.
At all.
I don't even know what you be talking about.
I had plenty of people,
Etymology 101.
plenty of people told me, bro, I just don't text you back.
Yeah.
I didn't know they didn't understand. I'm like,
Bam phonics.
I-
Bam right, yeah.
I have you know,
Next slide.
if you knew grade school grammar, sound it out, you will get it.
Oh, yeah.
Master read English major.
Number 3, complete. Complete communication involves all the information and details that the receiver should know before responding or taking actions based on the communication. You can also approach the call to action option in your email if you want to receive. Hold on.
If you
Sorry.
send an email, that's if you send
If
an
you
email.
want the receiver to take some extensive action based on your communication. An incomplete message wastes a lot of time and effort on the team members and creates misunderstanding, so make sure that your communication is complete.
In other words, have a point. Don't just be having all these information overload, all these points, and it really don't make no sense. It's got to be a complete and thorough thought in your communication. It's like sometimes again you start bringing stuff from years ago.
The call to action button is basically if you want them to respond now, it gives you options.
I'm going to my email.
We don't really use
Look and
it.
see if I can find it.
I'm finna apply that in my text message.
Usually when there's a call to action, there's something that you're supposed to do.
You're
Yeah.
responding back to
Yeah.
it or like a
Let them know, yeah, I got it done. It's done.
Yes.
Something to that effect.
Hey, but just side note,
Yeah.
like she said, she was an English major. I know for a fact when we was taking English, they made us put a whole
You
bunch
took
of
English?
I'm like, what? 7 times?
7 times. Oh, okay.
It must have been stick. But anywho, but no, they make you do a lot of your essays have to be loaded words. Oh, 1,000 word essay. Like, no, what's the point? Like, what you think about slavery? Like, it sucks. Like, this is my essay. Like, I ain't like it. But that is, like you said, straight to the point. But it just like the systems. Yeah, but it just the way the system was, in English, there's a lot of loaded words and terms in certain things. You have to be this and have to be that. But like you said, but communicating effectively tells you to do the opposite of that. Like you said, Mike, listen, say what you got to say, get to the point, no loaded words. And it's but this is how we learn English. This is our grammar. English major.
Because we learned it in confusion.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Everything backwards. Current. So.
Everything gotta be concise.
What is concise?
About to read it.
Clear.
Good communication involves your message being prim and proper. Stick to the point of what you're trying to communicate and do not beat around the bush. Very often people tend to say 5 sentences in a place where there could have, as you were, tend to say 5 sentences in a place where they could have communicated the message in just 2 sentences. This can cause a lack of efficiency in the organization, which can negatively impact productivity too. Your communication should be crisp and accurate to make it effective.
So that's piggyback off what you just read, to the point.
Yeah.
It ain't gotta be no doggone novel.
Yeah.
Because half the time when I get messages like that, I'm not reading all these.
Yeah.
I'll read a couple sentences and I'm like, all right, this is getting ridiculous.
Like, what is your point?
Yeah, what is you talking about,
I'm
young
gonna
man?
read all this.
Concrete.
Stern.
Read that one, man. Go ahead. Yeah.
Before making a statement or trying to communicate with the other person, you should be sure about the idea that you are trying to communicate. Pardon what you were saying, vet the information. You should have faith in what you want to convey to the listeners. A concrete idea will lead to a better statement so that your audience can understand your message.
So in other words, be sure that you know what you're talking about. It can't be no, well, again, like I heard this, I think, I feel, like, that's one thing Bam always talks about, feel ain't the truth. Yeah, feelings come in and go. The truth will stand.
I can't mind it. Listen, they fluid. Your feelings is fluid. They're gonna change whatever the weather blow. Concreteness, that a real word because I'm starting using it. Concreteness is a very important aspect of communication, especially when it is related to advertising. My bad. I thought it was adversity. Sales and marketing. You should grab the attention of the audience with your concrete communication rather than boring them.
Yeah, so because if you're aggravating somebody, if you're boring them, they're not gonna pay attention. It's just like everything's all about making the communication presentable, acceptable, and to where they can be an effective listener also, right? So then we get coherent. It says, you cannot be an effective communicator if you become illogical while communicating. Now, I don't know who all's married and who ain't married, but a lot of times some of these arguments, it don't make no sense. Like, what are you talking about? All these ifs, ands, or whatever, like, what?
Listen, I'll tell you.
I can't live in that.
This is another thing that sent me through the roof.
So what?
This is another thing you send me to the roof. I'll be like, what are you meaning? That makes no sense. But it makes sense to me. Okay, well, I need you to articulate those senses to me because it ain't math.
So
It ain't math to her.
No, it ain't.
you have to have coherent thoughts if you want to be an effective communicator. I'll read that again. You cannot be an effective communicator if you become illogical while communicating. Your communication needs to have a logical flow in order to make it effective. Again, don't be jumping everywhere, confusing people. Your statements and messages should be interconnected to the previous exchange of messages. So don't just be starting to talk about something completely different. Stay on subject so that you can stick to the main topic and not divert the attention of the receiver. This will help the receiver to keep a track of what the topic is and what it is that you want to convey. What's wrong, Bill? Why are you looking like that?
Nah, I'm telling you something. Like, I don't know. I think you wrote this.
No, I didn't write that.
Where you pulled this from?
I did not write
This
this.
dude came with a whole magazine.
Ma, you hear me?
Ready.
With the Gatling gun?
I looked and literally this morning put this together. This was not the lesson.
500-yard line, slow fire, prone.
So we're gonna have a master weakness.
Being a professional in the corporate world, being courteous is one of the first important qualities that you should have in yourself. Courteousness is a necessity to maintain a healthy working relationship so that you can have a positive exchange of thoughts and messages with your colleagues.
So what does it mean to be courteous? It's not in here. I just want to know what y'all think courteous is.
Like, how you doing today? How's your day going? Like, being nice.
Respectful.
Timely.
Tactful. No, I'm just messing with
tactful,
you.
and then
I'm just messing with you.
when you're being a courteous communicator, you're also thinking about the receiver's feelings.
Yep.
Because again, in communication, the most important person is the sender.
Oh my God. A good steward.
A good steward, absolutely. Yeah.
Why you say it like that?
Hey, and we have one here. Hey.
She should be a good steward. Unless she's just a good Jones.
Massive.
Ready?
Yeah.
Work partners are not necessarily friends, so being courteous is one of the many important things that should be implemented. Arguments, insults, and fights among colleagues will result in bad moral and will eventually lower the productivity of the organization.
Right, because if you're not being courteous in your communication, and you lose a brother, you lose a friend, you lose a family member, you can't get stuff done. You can get way more stuff done than two people than one person can.
Yeah.
Think about this in a spiritual context when we're supposed to be spreading the gospel, spreading the word, bringing more people into the truth of who the Most High is, and if our spirit is not right, it's courtesy, then we're gonna chase them away. They're not gonna want to be a part of it at all. They're gonna go, I don't want to be involved. And we know some people like that, so this is kind of like it.
And it's to piggyback on what
Oh, no.
Brother Manny was saying. Like not even yes in the spiritual form, but like the organization of your family.
Yeah.
Like you said, like if you look at that, and with the spouse, the children, the actual blood relations, because it starts with us in the household.
This is good.
Like he said, so all this is, I don't know where you got it from, bro, but you did good.
That's good, because the last, the Shabbat we had, I was like, I had posted on my Facebook, and I was like, hey, just imagine if the Father spoke to us like we speak to our children. And I was like, and a lot of these children go to school and they talk to people all crazy and stuff, and I'm like, they learn that from somewhere, and it's probably us, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, everything trickles down to the communication and being respectful, and they're gonna pretty much pick up what you're doing. So if you're arguing, fussing, and fighting,
Nah, this hit.
they
This
gonna be arguing,
good.
fussing,
This
and
is
fighting.
good.
So
This is good.
That's good. I like to put that family in there, so that's true.
It's very true. And then, again, moving forward, if someone offends you, it's okay to rebuke them. It's okay to let them know. Even the Messiah said that, okay, you go let them know. If they still don't repent, you bring a witness or two witnesses. And then if they don't, you bring them before an assembly. And then if they don't, you treat them like a heathen. But the problem is we don't want to take the time to learn how to communicate. We think everybody knows how to communicate, and we know, or effectively communicate. Let me correct myself. And we know that everyone does not. Especially when you come from as much baggage and generational curses as we come from.
Exactly. One thing, and this one thing somebody told me, everybody don't think like you. We learning. We learning, okay? You want to come up here before the class to them? No. I'm just, but yeah, but everybody don't think like you. The way I learn, people don't learn. This is what they call it, a ode to you. You know what I mean? 'Cause me and you, we talk a lot, but like you said, I'm like that. I'm gonna say this big word and I'm gonna make you understand. You can't do that. That's not being courteous. People don't learn how we learn. People don't think how we think. Like I said, and I'm gonna challenge you and I'm gonna challenge myself to look at this whole thing and communicating effectively. There's 7 points. It ain't that many. I know about 3 of them, maybe 6, but I'm just gonna say 3. I know I don't do about 3 of them for sure. And I tell myself I am all the time. And I'm saying, hey, I'm communicating effectively. And I'm shunning them for not communicating effectively. Whole time, it's me. That's crazy, bro. This is amazing.
One of the leadership principles, Marine Corps is no self-seeking.
You still going?
So,
Yeah.
I don't need your help. I don't need your help. Now I'm just letting this little woman.
So, ain't it?
ain't no lights on up there.
I was just about being up there.
He said it's a little warm. Yeah.
Oh, God. He just facts of what?
So we've been talking about effective communication, right? So, and the way, like, I mean, you just were just a witness. Like, have you been your brother's keeper? And the way you've really communicated with people, has anybody? Have I? Consistently, I got work to do, personally. I can't speak for nobody else, but I know I got some work to do.
Every day, it's an everyday work. It's like every moment.
Mhm.
Because we forget.
Yep.
Especially when we get upset.
Mhm.
It's like, oh, wait, let me take that back. My bad. I
Yeah.
didn't mean to say it like that.
Having to repent and die daily, right? So, to try to speed this up, we're gonna go to the book of Genesis 4, right? And we're gonna start at verse 1. Bam, go ahead and read, young man. Got him. Thought he was sitting down for nothing.
And Adam knew Eve his wife, and she conceived and bore and bare Cain, and said, I have gotten a man from your body.
Why would she say that? 'Cause didn't she marry a man? Well, not marry. Isn't she with a man already? Why would she say that? I always look at that, and that's always interesting to me. Keep going. Just a question to think about.
Man, child,
No, she was trying to raise him to be. You know, how some single mothers will try to raise their son to be their husband. That's what she was trying to do.
I bet you had that conversation this week too. That's crazy. And she gave birth his brother Abel, and Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. Question. So this was
Cain and Abel.
I know, but the story, like, it's like a misconception, like they're supposed to have been twins.
That's, I was literally in my head just now.
They're not
like,
twins,
they're not
no.
twins.
I figured, so,
No.
like, when I was started reading myself, you never heard of they're supposed to be twins?
No, they're not twins.
Just to clarify
That's
this.
Jacob and Esau that were twins.
She again bare.
I know, but just like, because I
My
thought
whole
like,
life I thought it was.
yeah, me
That's
too.
communication.
No, that's Jacob and Esau.
Yeah.
Jacob grabbed the heel of Esau when he was coming
Yeah,
out.
I remember them being twins, like, but it's just like the way they perceived it throughout life. Well, my perception, but anyway. And in the process of time, it came to pass that Cain brought up fruit of the ground and an offering to the flock. And Abel, he also brought of the firstling of his flock and of the fat thereof. And Yahweh had respect unto Abel and to his offering.
So why was Abel's offering respected and not Cain's?
So that it was meat,
Huh?
no blemish.
It was the
It
best
was the
though.
first, yeah, because
It was the first and the best.
it was the best.
There we go. Y'all remember? Okay.
Remember we was talking about that where
Yeah.
like you have to bring your best and people wasn't doing that, they wouldn't bring their best, then they got lazy, they
But
were
also, Cain, he brought vegetables and stuff.
Fruits and vegetables, but it wasn't the best either. We're gonna read about it here in a
They
little
didn't
bit.
say it was the best, man. You know, because I remember we read this.
We're gonna read it. We're gonna go over
It's
it.
like, didn't we just read 5?
No, we're
Oh,
on.
okay. So I'm about to say, I know we have a.
Yeah, we're on 5 now. We're on 5.
I know y'all know the story.
Whoever wants to read, yeah.
But unto Cain and his offering, he had not respect, and Cain was very wroth, and his countenance fell.
Stop. Why and what does it mean for your countenance to fall?
Now, I was just like, I would say he felt disappointed.
Mhm.
He was, his feelings were hurt.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Read verse 6.
He was offended. And Yahweh said unto Cain, why art thou wroth? Why is thy countenance fallen?
So you ever seen somebody that was in a great mood, and then all of a sudden they get a text message? Maybe it was your homeboy. He thought he's in love. He get a text message. His girlfriend and broke up with him, and then his whole demeanor, everything then changed. His countenance fell. Why did his countenance fall?
Because
He
she
was
broke
jealous.
up, she broke up with him.
Huh?
Because she broke up.
Right. But I'm talking about for Cain.
He was
thought
jealous.
he thought
He was envious.
I'm gonna say that he I'm gonna say huh?
I'm gonna say,
He was
I'm
envious.
gonna say
PJ.
he was jealous. Why was he jealous?
Because his brother, like, pretty much the Most High accepted his brothers, and
Okay.
not his.
Perfect.
Because
That's
he
it.
brought something better to the table.
Right. Right. So read verse 7.
Alright. If thou doest well, shalt thou not be accepted. And if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door. And unto thee shall be his desire.
So what does that verse mean?
If you don't do well, you're not gonna be accepted. You're gonna have sin right there. gonna be sinning.
So, okay, so what does the second part of that mean? So sin is at the door, lieth at the door. What is, starting at and, what does that part mean?
And unto thee shall be his desire.
And thou shalt rule over him.
Yeah.
And thou shalt rule over him. What does that mean?
So if you do your best, you're gonna rule over somebody who don't.
Like the wheat and the tares. It's like if you choose to do well and you're gonna be accepted for doing your best. But if you choose not to do well, then sin is gonna be right there and it's gonna run your life.
That's it.
I just said all that.
No, that's not what you said. You didn't say sin was going to rule
You
you.
ineffectively communicate.
So he was waiting. I'm glad it wasn't me. He was waiting to use that on somebody. I know he was.
Oh, man.
So the first half of, she hit the nail on the head. The first half of that is talking about you as the person, right? Doing well or not doing well. But if you don't do well, he's telling you what's going to happen. Then it says, it's actually saying, unto you will be his desire. That's sin, right? Sin is going to be desiring you, and then sin is actually going to rule over you. The King James version is kind of a bad version of on this verse. If you have a textual comparison, you read the other ones, you start seeing like, oh wait, so it's actually saying like, if I'm not doing well, sin's going to rule over me and control me, because the scriptures tells us to do what? To be angry, but sin not, right? And so he was angry, but I got a question. Whose fault is that? Why was it his fault?
Because if he would have did right the first time, if he would have did well,
Right?
he wouldn't have, his countenance wouldn't have failed. It would have put him into the emotional wreck, the hyper-emotionalism, and he wouldn't have been subjected over to sin.
Okay, but here's my question. Even if he would have brought God his best fruits and vegetables, would God have accepted that?
See, that's what we were at one
So-
time.
Now,
Yes, he would have, because Cain was the what? The firstborn.
yeah,
So he's the one that was supposed to receive the birthright, the inheritance, everything. But, it's supposed to. But even with Jacob and Esau, Jacob wasn't the first. But there would be something flawed in some firstborns to where they don't even believe that they're worthy. So secretly, Cain didn't really believe that he was worthy of accepting something like that. Because if he really believed it, he would have brought his best to the Most High. Because a lot of people don't understand, which we'll read about it later, that was a moed, or an appointed time. And that was a test, and he failed it. So whenever you fail a test, the Most High, he got other people. He don't need us for nothing. He got others. Like, okay, well, I got your brother. Oh, you want to do something? Okay, don't worry about it. I got a remedy for that too, right? And so when Cain's offering was rejected and Abel's was accepted, that was the Most High letting you know there was a distinction between what?
The seed,
Two seeds. Everything still goes back to two seeds, right?
So I didn't read the lesson.
No, hey, but you teaching it. You teaching it today, though. Hey, I ain't mad at you, right? So then for this, we have to go to Romans 7 to understand the two seeds, because when it talked about sin is lying at the door, where was sin lying at the door at with Cain?
if he kept on doing what he was doing.
Where was it lying at the door at with Cain?
Ruling over him.
Where?
In his heart, I guess.
That's it. In his heart, in his mind. Sin was at the door of his mind, right? Controlling him, ruling over him. And he wasn't even made aware of that, because he was focused on what his brother got and what he didn't get. That lets you know that even before that, he was paying attention to his brother more than he was paying attention to what he was giving. He wasn't paying attention to the things he was supposed to. He was worried about somebody else. Like, bruh, handle what you can handle. Envy. What?
My thing is,
Heart, nothing. Just,
Envy.
but my thing is, I still think that God wouldn't accept no fruit and vegetables over no sacrificed animal. I just don't think so.
It was
If that's what he had, like, okay.
Okay, because
But
He
he
didn't have-
was over the field though.
that was literally his job. He was a farmer.
Yeah, I know. I
So
know.
like that's all he could bring. So I mean, like, it would only stand to reason. I understand I get what you're saying. I truly get what you're saying, but it would only stand to reason. Like, if all I got to bring
Now-
is Kmart, then I can't bring you, Walmart.
So, now, I will say this. The Most High knew who he was going to accept, like, from the foundation of the world, regardless. But if he would have brought a good offering, he wouldn't have got cursed, right? He would have still received a blessing, right? But he didn't do that because the Most High knew his heart. Think the Most High didn't know that? You think because
Like, you know what, God don't need my
that was just basically like the nail in the coffin. The Most High was like, okay, this is it, final. This is 2 seeds.
Yeah.
You've made your choice. You decided not to give me your best.
I got an example.
Yeah.
Got a perfect example. My 3rd grader, she just brought home principal's honor roll. My 5th grader just brought home a D. Think she finna get something from me? Negative, go right. My 3rd grader, she finna ball out.
Gotcha.
Good example?
Good. So Romans 7, right? So sin was lying at the door of Cain's mind, right? Because everything, righteousness, wickedness, sin, that all of that starts in your mind, right? So you got to go to Paul for that. You have to. You got to go to Romans 7. So Romans 7, it says, "Know you not, brethren, for I speak unto them that know the law." You think Cain and Abel didn't know some semblance of what was supposed to be done? "How that the law hath dominion over a man as long as he liveth." It has dominion as long as you are alive. Paul's even saying that. It says, "For the woman," now remember, Israel is also a woman, "which hath an husband is bound by the law to her husband, so long as he liveth. But if the husband be dead, she is loosed from the law of her husband," right? Okay. That's why Mashiach had to die for us, right? "So then, if while her husband liveth, she be married to another man, she shall be called an adulteress. But if her husband being dead, she is free from that law, so that she is no adulteress, though she be married to another." So that's like he's still alive and y'all married, and she gonna marry somebody else. You can't do
That's
that.
adultery, but
Yeah.
if he dies, and she marries somebody else, it's not adultery.
Facts. Go ahead.
So, married twice.
Okay.
Never did. But, first wife, I deployed to Afghanistan.
Mhm.
She deployed to the Navy,
Right.
pun intended.
Hmm.
So when I got back to Oklahoma, after I got out, 2011, filed, abandonment, blah, blah, yada, yada, got divorced. She's still alive. I'm still alive. Are we still bound to each other by the law?
Why'd you divorce her? Because it's written in the law for a bill of divorcement.
When I
First
said
off,
she deployed to the Navy, I don't mean she joined.
so
Oh,
I'm tracking.
man.
So
Exactly.
you divorced for what?
That's why I said
Adultery or
fornication.
fornication. Even Mashiach said, yeah, you can't get divorced save for fornication or adultery. So no, you're
So
good.
we're still good?
Yeah, you're good. Yeah. So then it says, "Wherefore, my brethren, you are also are become dead to the law by the body of Mashiach, that you should be married to another, even to him which is raised from the dead, that we should bring forth fruit unto Allure." Now, what was Cain's job?
To be tiller of the ground.
So he was supposed to do what?
Bring forth fruit.
Unto the Most High. Did he bring forth his best?
No.
Because sin was already at the door, right? So why was he jealous of Abel so much? Because it had to be prior to that. There's no way just because of that, all of a sudden your countenance gonna fall on this and that. There's no way.
Well, just
The Bible don't tell us about what was going on between the two before this.
Okay.
Or maybe it does, or lost books or something.
with Jubilee's projection, but I just said like from us, the younger brother, the younger sibling always get, treated better, so to speak, in our culture or in our.
Bam, you were the youngest, weren't you?
Yeah.
Were you treated better?
No.
That's a misnomer.
But I'm just saying why I said in our supposedly.
Yeah.
But just think about it. Feeding some cattle, I never fed cattle, but I know tilling the ground is hard. I do know that. Just the fact of him, he probably felt like his job was a lot easier.
Yeah.
Could be.
Abel's a lot easier than his.
Yep,
Yeah,
definitely
so
could be.
it's probably like, he out there, maybe he probably built him up a little shed, he feeds his flock up under the shed, sun not scorching down on him, but he out here building
Slaving.
trees, like slaving hard. Like I said, when you had us out there tending that garden, it was some hard work.
Boy, you mean when Master had us out there? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's Master Stewart to you, Master Jones
Yeah,
now.
so it probably was one of the things. It did say like the Most High accepted his gift. I mean his offering too though. Like he probably
No, I mean, it says that he didn't have respect unto his offering. So no, he didn't accept it.
No, I said, I'm talking about the Most High accepted Abel's and not
Yeah.
his. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. That could have been, like I said, all that playing the two.
Right, right. So it was because sin was already at the door of his mind, right? Because there's two seeds in the earth. It's either sin's at the door or it's righteousness, because he places before us an open door. Whether or whatever we can allow to control our mind is the direction we're going to go in, right? Because clearly he wasn't controlling his mind because he knew there's no way he didn't know not to bring better offerings to the Most High. There's no way he didn't know that. There's no way. It says, for when you were in the flesh, the motions of sins, which were by the law, did work in our members to bring forth fruit unto death. So because he wasn't in control of himself, only death actions were coming out of him. Because again, this is an appointed time. He knows if you come before the Most High, you got to give something. You can't just be anything. But no, he's just like, no, the Most High, you just going to take this. Like, this is what I got. And I'm the firstborn, so I got it in the bag. He kind of took that for granted. And a lot of times that's what we end up doing, Or maybe he wasn't effectively communicating to the Most High, praying the right way to him to make sure he had the right under or overstanding. There was something he was doing that was lacking. But that's how you know that there's two seeds, because Paul is so deep, man. He says, but now we are delivered from the law, that being dead whereunto we were held, that we should serve in newness of spirit and not in the oldness of the letter, because the letter killeth, right? Yeah. It says, what shall we say then? Is the law sin? God forbid. Nay, I had not known sin but by the law, for I had not known lust, except the law had said, thou shalt not covet, right? It says, but sin taken occasion by the commandment wrought in me all manner of concupiscence, for without the law, sin was dead. So y'all remember what concupiscence meant? Lusting for forbidden stuff, whether it's sexual, whatever you want, anything forbidden that you know you're not supposed to be touching or thinking about or doing. So when you're not governing your mind, concupiscence, it creeps in. It controls you, right? Then it says, for I was alive without the law once, but when the commandment came, sin revived and I died. So I got a question. So Paul says this because people will take Paul literally in a lot of stuff. When were you alive without the law?
When you were sinning?
When were you alive without the law?
Wait, Paul was Saul, right?
Yeah, Shaul. Yep.
So he was alive without the law when he was Saul.
How?
He was living his own life without the law. He wasn't following the law, and he was living his own life.
Okay.
And then
So verse 1.
I just walked in on this, and that's just what I thought.
Know you not, brethren, for I speak to them that know the law, how that the law hath dominion over a man as long as he lives. Yeah. So this says, for I was alive without the law once, but when the commandment came, sin revived and I died. So when were you alive without the law?
Before you knew the law.
I mean, you could say that, but even, okay, if you go back to Adam and Eve, were they ever alive without a law?
No, they had a law.
They always have.
They could not eat that from that tree.
So,
I mean, we always had a law over us, but if we don't know it, then of course we can't apply it.
Yeah.
So
That's why.
I guess it would be like never. So we've always had a law over us.
we've always had the law. So they were,
But if you're sinning and you don't know anything about the Most High and all that, then you're living without a law.
yeah,
You're lawless. You do whatever you want to do.
right, but
The law still exists though.
But
Like,
once you get reborn, then you have a law to follow by.
so I don't know so Romans 7 is talking about two different laws. So he's talking about the law that pertains to life, and he's talking of the law of sin and death. So you're not, you don't have anything to do with the law of sin and death until you commit sin, right? So whether because you're going to be judged whether you know the law or not. That's what the book says. So with Paul, that's why I'm saying you got to be careful with Paul, because you think he's talking about one thing and he's actually saying multiple things, because there's laws. Like Adam and Eve had a law. They didn't die. What did he tell Adam? The day you eat of this fruit, you will surely die. So there was always a law. So when have you been without a law? It's always been there. Now, you may not have been made aware of everything, but from a child, most people, without too much interference, know between right and wrong for like a baseline of things.
Okay, so explain that. For I was alive without the law once. What are you talking about?
So basically, like, he didn't know sin until he knew sin.
Right.
So I was right.
So we were right.
So in a sense, like, 'cause, like, it was not just the law of the commandments law.
No.
It was the law of sin and death.
Because the wages of sin is death, right? And again, so it's 2 C's. So there's a law of life and there's a law of sin and death. Even though, because that's why in the covenant, he put blessings and curses. So it's the law of life and the law of sin and death, even in that. But Paul is just deferring between two different laws at different points in this chapter. So then he says, and the commandment which was ordained to life, I found to be unto death. Because if you break the law, then you fall under sin, which the wages of that is death, right? For sin, taking occasion by the commandment, deceived me, just like it deceived Eve, right? Just like it deceived Cain, right? And by it slew me, so it killed me. Wherefore the law is holy, and the commandment holy and just and good. So either you can mortify your members daily, or you can be killed by the law of sin and death, if that makes sense to you. One is a choice, the other is a reaction, because that's the algorithm that you're on. You know. So I was looking at that and I'm like, okay. Then he says, what was then that which is good made death unto me? So talking about the law, God forbid, but sin, that it might appear sin, worketh death in me by that which is good. That sin by the commandment which might become exceedingly sinful. For we know that the law is spiritual, but I am carnal, sold under sin. For that which I do, I allow not. For what I would, that do I not. But what I hate, that do I. If then I do that which I would not, I consent unto the law that it is good. Now, does that make sense to y'all? Or was that confusing?
Well, that was confusing.
Like the communication. Where's it?
Because that's why he says, I speak to them that know the law, right? So then he says, okay, for that which I do, I allow not. So what I would do, I don't allow. For what I would, that I do not. But what I hate, that I do. So he's not controlling. Whenever you're under the law of sin and death, you're not controlling yourself. The sin is controlling you. That's why it's been at the door and you haven't been at the helm of your ship anymore. So you're doing the things that you hate to do because, you know, when you really do sin and you know better, you get that bad feeling after you've done it. Like, man, but that's what starts controlling you. So he's actually talking about the law of sin and death. Then it says, if then I do that which I would not, I consent unto the law that it is good. Because again, you're not controlling yourself. You're being literally remote controlled. I know that's confusing. I shouldn't have put all this in. So it talks about a double-minded man, basically, right? I'm going to go to James. James, the book of James 1. Just somebody read verses 5-8 real quick.
If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask God, that giveth to all men liberally, and
Upbraideth
not, and it shall be given him.
So the Most High will give you as long as you ask for it. He's no respecter of persons, right? Okay.
But let me ask him in faith, nothing wavering. For he that wavereth is like a wave of the sea, driven with the wind and tossed.
So does that not kind of sound like the person that Paul was talking about in Romans 7? Because he's doing things that he would not. He's doing things that he hates. He don't even have control. He's a double-minded man. Going with the flow. Keep going.
For let not that man think that he shall receive anything of the Lord. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways.
So once you fall into this law of sin and death, and you start creating these fictitious imaginations, like somebody hates you, they don't like you, whatever the case. I'm just saying, like, so that's like a precursor to let you know, like, wait a minute, am I falling prey to the law of sin and death? Because now I'm envious, I'm angry, like I want to get some get back, like I'm prideful, I'm boastful, everything. So when you're doing that, and then you have an evil eye or a hateful eye towards your brother, so are you being your brother's keeper when you get into that moment? Do you even take that into account when you're in that moment? Because again, now you're being ruled by the law that's in your flesh. But we're supposed to be spiritual, because he that is spiritual judgeth all things, right? So again, in Romans 7, he's deferring between two different laws. He's jumping back and forth, because he also says that the law is holy, it's just, and it's good. That's the law of life, right? The spirit of life. Going to James 4. Trying to speed this up. My bad. Reading verses 1 through 11 and verse 17. It says, you got it?
Yeah.
Okay.
From whence come wars and fighting among you? Come they not hence, even of your lust that war in your members?
Wait. So what does that mean? Read verse 1.
Read it again. From whence come wars and fighting among you? Come they not hence, even of your lust that war in your members?
So what does that mean?
They're fighting, well, because of their
Lust.
Huh? First off, who's fighting?
Your members, like yourself.
No. Among you. So James is writing to a whole assembly, right?
Oh.
So he's like, where comes all these wars and all this stuff between you members, between you people, a part of the body? Where does he say it comes from?
From you,
Huh?
among you.
From your own lust, most of the time is what he says. So when people be having these arguments and disagreements out of nowhere, and you're just like, wait, what just happened? A lot of times it's because you're lusting or coveting after something or envying something that they have, or maybe something that you don't have. And so because you're not controlling your mind, that law of sin and death is ruling you, and you're breeding contention, which we know we're not supposed to meddle with that. So that lets you know that you're not being your brother's keeper when we are supposed to be, because we're supposed to be loving our neighbors as ourselves. But that's not what happens, because we don't want to take because effective communication is about taking the time to make sure your message gets across, right? In order to do that, you have to take time to work on yourself. And you're not doing that to make sure that you're acting in love towards your brother, your family. You're not doing that. So that's why all these wars and rumors, all this stuff will come up, because you lusting after stuff. It's literally you a lot of the times.
They don't even know it.
Don't even know it. You blaming everybody else, and it's you. Your eye is wicked. There's something that you got to work on. But that's not the case. We want to blame everybody else for everything, and it's literally us. Literally, right? Keep going.
Ye lust and have not. Ye kill and desire to have and cannot obtain. Ye fight and war, yet ye have not, because ye ask not.
You doing all this, all because you don't have it because you ain't asked the right way. Read the next one.
Ye ask and receive not, because ye ask amiss, that ye may consume it upon your lusts.
So it's all the. You're talking about building a kingdom. The hearts of the fathers returning to the children. The hearts of the children returning to the fathers. The hearts of the spouses coming together. Tribes, families, nations coming together. And we still have to understand that it starts with us. Everything starts with us. We got to stop blaming everybody else. What are we? So a lot of times, like Jessica was talking about, or maybe it was Ben, it was one of y'all was talking about that it was a test. And the Most High, he's trying to allow us to understand or to see, like, hey, I know you may have been right in this situation, but actually you wrong. You lusting after something. There's something that you need to get off your chest, to get out of you, so I can give you the things that you need or the things that you desire. So there's work that we all have to do, continue to do individually, right? Keep going.
Ye adulterers and adulteresses, know ye not that the friendship of the world is enmity with God? Whosoever therefore will be a friend of the world is the enemy of God.
Like I said, this is the year of exposure. I don't need to say nothing else about that one.
So, explain enmity.
Like if you have enmity with something, okay, so bro, it was verse 5 or 4, right? Wait, which verse was that?
4. Because I've always seen that
Yeah.
word, a certain scripture, but I've never looked it up.
So, can two walk together unless they agree?
You can,
Huh?
but
Not the scriptures say two can't walk together unless they agree. So if you are friends with the world, there's no way that you could be friends with the Most High. So in other words, two laws, because that's two seeds. So either you're with the world, because remember, Mashiach said, I pray for them, I pray not for the world. So there's a distinction right there. So either you're with the Most High or you're with the world. Everything's still about two seeds, no matter how you get around it.
Oh, the lukewarm.
Two seeds.
If you're with me, you are out.
That's right. Bam, go ahead and read this one.
Do you think that the scriptures say it in vain? The spirit that dwelleth in us lusteth to envy, but he giveth more grace. Wherefore he said, God resisted the proud, but giveth grace unto the humble.
I want to say, yeah, keep going. I'm trying to get this done. Go ahead.
Submit yourself therefore to God, resist the devil, and he will flee from you.
So, resistance. What type of resistance do you have? Especially when it comes to dealing with your neighbor, your brother, your friend, your compatriot.
You better have a spiritual resistance.
I'm saying. Because the Most High, he's so gracious, graceful, right? And we read about all this grace that he's given, even here. And again, what we were saying earlier, we can't have no grace between dealing with brethren, with mama, with dad, with sons, daughters. Sometimes it's just patience. And the Most High, he's making the way, but resistance. So Cain, how much resistance did he have? Not much, if any at all.
Just enough to crack his skull.
Boy,
He ain't go all the way through.
stop it. keep going.
Draw nigh to Yahweh, and he will draw nigh to you. Cleanse your hands, ye sinners, and purify your hearts, ye double-minded.
So, what does it mean to purify your hearts?
Repent.
Yeah.
So, what does repent mean?
To change your way.
Turn away from, to change, to repent in action and not in word, right? No lip service, because a lot of people will repent and there's never any type of change. There's not fruits, meat for repentance, is what the book says.
Back in the Old Testament, repent was sorrowful.
Mm-hmm.
Just be humble enough to know, like, man, I did something I shouldn't, like.
Uh-huh.
Like I just thought about it. A lot of people don't do that.
No.
Like they don't care that they did. They're like, I did that. I know when I repent,
Uh-huh.
even though I repent that, but I don't want to be like, I'm sorry I did that. It don't hit me like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably why you have to know, like, what you did wrong. Like, you need to be sorry for that. Because if you're sorry for something, that's when you change it.
Mm-hmm.
If you're truly sorry.
If you're truly sorry.
Right.
You can be sorry and still do it again.
Yep.
Like you said, if you're truly sorry.
Yeah.
That's what it talked about, circumcising the foreskin of your hearts, purifying your hearts, being sorry so you can actually move on, adapt, evolve, elevate. But a lot of times we're scared of elevation.
Yeah.
That's really what it is.
Yeah, we need.
Because we're like, man, I don't want to, we get so rigid, I don't want to make a mistake and this and that. I'm just going to stay right here. And the Most High's like, no. I've called you for higher things. No, you can't stay here. You're going to keep getting the same test. Look, you're going to get past this, Jonah. Hey, you're going to do my will. You're going to do it.
Yep. And even with our forgiveness, when we ask the Father to forgive us of what we've done, just like we was talking about earlier with other people,
Mhm.
when we ask the Father for that forgiveness, we better be real ready to let whatever we do and go
Yep.
to be one with Him and stop playing, because He gonna give you too many chances. He gonna be making you. You gonna be in strong delusion like a lot of these people out here. I'm just saying.
Ben, read the next verse because you just talked about being sorrowful.
Be afflicted and mourn and weep. Let your laughter be turned into mourning and your joy into heaviness. Humble yourself in the sight of your God, and he shall lift you up.
He's all about us being humble and operating in the spirit of humility. It ain't about boasting yourself and being or claiming that you're bigger and better and all this all the time over people. Most High, he ain't in all that. That's self-worship. That's man worship.
Right.
Again, he don't need none of us for nothing at all, right? Now, this is one thing when you talk about, are you your brother's keeper, that we have to think about. Read that next verse.
Speak not evil one of another, brother. He that speaketh evil of his brother, and judges his brother, speak evil of the law, and judges the law. But if thou judge the law, thou art not a doer of the law, but a judge.
Mm-hmm. Read the next one.
Therefore, to him that knoweth to do good and doeth in it, to him
Doeth it.
doeth it not, to him it is sin.
So we know if
Why
you're...
are you writing these scriptures like this?
It's Odin. So we know that if you're spiritual, we're supposed to prove all things. If you're spiritual, then you can judge all things also, right? But if you're not in your right standing and you're speaking evil of a brother, that's what it's talking about. Speak not evil of one another, brethren. He that speaketh evil of his brother and judgeth his brother speaketh evil of the law. So we're not supposed to be talking falsely about people. That's what it's talking about. That's what we was reading earlier, right? All that stuff puts you in sin. And then what you're really doing is you're reaping coals on your own head. Because you want to talk, because life and death is in that power of the tongue. So most of like, okay, you want to keep talking bad about him instead of going through the correct steps to rebuke or to come together with that brother. No, you're just going to speak bad about people. Talk crazy about them. The Most High, that's one that he don't like that. Go ahead.
Like you said, Justin looking at it from a physical sense, like he said, you speak evil against your brother. Like you said, this supposed to be people of the same faith, you know. Not necessarily the skin folk, like you said, but like
right.
the same faith. But did he say he's going to write his law on our hearts?
It's supposed to be.
Minds?
It's supposed to be.
So that's a direct attack on his law.
Oh, like, wait. So you gonna talk about him? My law right there.
Yeah.
That's my word. Word is bond. That's my word. You ain't about to talk about my word.
So, because even if you look at it like in a physical sense, like you don't want to offend the Most High.
No.
And the worst thing you can do outside of disobeying Him is to put your hand on His people. Is it that don't touch my anointing?
Touch not my anointed.
Something like that, right?
Yeah, that's what it says. Somewhere between Genesis and Revelation, somebody said.
But that's a good one. Where you got that from?
Yeah, I don't know either.
White page with black letters.
Therefore, to him that know to do good and do it that not, to him it is sin. So if you know to do good, it should be a no-brainer. Just do it. Just do. Even if you're mad at somebody, even if you don't like them right now, if it's in your hand to do it, do them justice, then do it. Don't be spiteful. Because what if the Most High decides to start doing that with us? So then, right? And Cain talked with Abel his brother. Back to Genesis 4. And it came to pass when they were in the field that Cain rose up against Abel his brother and slew him. So he killed him over an offering. What kind of sense does that make? So he must have been festering hate in his heart.
For a while.
Yeah, there's no way it's just over that offering.
It couldn't have been just that.
It had to be deep-seated. There's no way. Talk to your brother. We've been talking about effective communication.
And that was the parents' treatment. A lot could go into
Where were
that.
they at?
We did.
Where was Adam? But, they grown at this point, I guess.
Wait, hold on.
There's a lot of things can go into that. So,
Huh?
no, you did.
Was okay. Cain and Abel happened after the garden, correct?
Mhm.
So, what if, hypothetical, what if the Most High had a relationship with Abel that he used to have with Adam in the garden?
Well, Adam is still alive.
Huh?
Adam is still alive.
I'm saying, but you know what I'm saying, like in the garden, him and the Most High was like,
That was home.
and they had conversations. He would converse with him, and then when this goes back to the
This goes back to what you were saying, I found God. Alright, no you didn't, he found you. So check
Right.
this out. So when Adam tried to hide himself, what if, when it comes to Cain and Abel, what if Abel was so pure in thought, pure in movement, that he was able to
Behold him.
that he was able to, deal with him. They were able to deal with each other the way his father used to be able to. Before he decided.
Which is very
Oh, so he's talking about before
Before he
Adam and
decided.
Eve's countenance fell, and they fell from that estate.
Yeah.
That's another. I see what you're saying.
God showed favor to Abel before
Right,
Cain.
which he was definitely showing favor to Abel, but we're gonna read because it always talks about the righteous blood of Abel is what the book says. Just because you're righteous does not mean that you don't get into emotionalism, and it does not mean that you don't make mistakes.
Yeah.
Being your brother's keeper is about avoiding confrontations when you can avoid it and not seeking them out. Right? Okay. So we're gonna go to the book of Jasher, chapter 1. I'm serious. And we're going to start at verse 12. Who wants to read?
I got it.
Go
And
ahead.
the Lord God drove them that day from the Garden of Eden to till the ground from which they were taken. And they went and dwelt at the east of the Garden of Eden. And Adam knew his wife Eve, and she bore 2 sons and 3 daughters.
Never knew that. My no daughters never knew that. Okay.
And she called the name of the firstborn Cain, saying, I have obtained a man from the Lord. And the name of the other she called Abel. For she said, in vanity we came into the earth, and in vanity we shall be taken from it.
So she kind of had like a different spirit with Abel too.
Yeah.
She was, it sounded like she was depressed. Keep going.
And the boys grew up, and their father gave them a possession in the land. And Cain was a tiller of the ground, and Abel a keeper of sheep.
I would have been mad right there. Like, if I'm the oldest, I should get the better job. I'd rather be a
But
sheep.
that's what Adam was told to do, till the ground, right?
Yeah.
So when you think about the Garden of Eden, right, the true definition would be the enclosure of pleasure. So Adam was actually the priest. So Cain was supposed to be doing the same thing, even though Abel was the one guarding the sheep, right? He's tilling the ground just like Adam is. Adam is, at that point in time on earth, Adam would be considered the high priest of that time, right? So Cain was supposed to get that same thing. But again, sin was at the door of his mind, so he wasn't worthy of that, right? Okay, keep going.
And it was at the expiration of a few years that they brought an approximating offering to the Lord. And Cain brought from the fruit of the ground, and Abel brought from the firstlings of his flock, from the fat thereof. And God turned and inclined to Abel and his offering, and a fire came down from the Lord from heaven and consumed it.
So that's how he knew that Abel's offering was accepted, right? Called down the fire just like Elijah did, right? Okay. So it says an approximating offering, right? So approximating. So this was after a few years, right? It says, and it was at the expiration of a few years. So what does that mean?
A few years.
So why would Cain and Abel both bring an offering at the same time?
They were supposed to.
Right. It was a moed, an important time, right? So what we don't realize is it was a tithe. It was the tithe. And I'm going to show you, we're going to go to Deuteronomy 14. We're going to read verses 22 through 29. Whoever wants to read, go ahead.
Thou shalt truly tithe all the increase of thy seed, that the field bringeth forth year by year. And thou shalt eat before the Lord thy God, in the place which he shall choose to place his name there, the tithe of thy corn, of thy wine, and of thine oil, and the firstlings of thy herds and of thy flocks, that thou mayest learn to fear the Lord thy God always.
So who's supposed to be eating this tithe? Or this tithe is supposed to be done where? You say it again? We are, right? So that's what the tithe used to be. And you would eat it before the Most High wherever he placed his name, right? Okay, read the next verse.
And if the way be too long for thee, so that thou art not able to carry it, or if the place be too far from thee, which the Lord thy God shall choose to set his name there, when the Lord thy God hath blessed thee.
Keep going.
Using the way.
My bad.
Then shalt thou turn it into money, and bind up the money in thine hand, and shalt go into the place which the Lord thy God shall choose.
So I know I've talked to some of y'all about this, but y'all knew this about tithe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this
Huh?
is what my
That way they get the feast and come back.
This
Right.
is what, I think this is the first lesson that we went over when I first started coming to Shabbat.
Okay.
And I was just like, what?
So this was a tithe, right? Okay, keep going, Jeremiah.
And thou shalt bestow that money for whatsoever thy soul lusteth after, for oxen, or for sheep, or for wine, or for strong drink, or for whatsoever thy soul desireth. And thou shalt eat there before the Lord thy God, and thou shalt rejoice, thou and thy household.
Now that said, wine and strong drink is supposed to be eaten before the Most High when you're giving your tithe. That's how you know Christianity, like a lot of that stuff don't even make no sense.
Even the word lust, like lust has a bad turn. Just
Yeah, you literally.
whatever your lust is like.
Yeah, you want some was it oxtail? you want to have a strong drink? It's okay because you're doing it before the Most High. You're giving him praise, you know. So it's okay, and that's in the house of the Most High. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like just reading it, like so. Even even the tithe was for us. Like he's saying, bring me your best, so I can see you enjoy the best that I provided for you.
Let me tell you, this scripture, this portion right here changed my life.
Really?
I kid you not. Because before I separated from where I was under,
Yeah.
me and my sis, we were conflicted because here we are, we're two single parents. Well, she had hers on the way, and I was a single parent trying to. I mean, I worked, but all my tithes went into the structure. I'll say it that way. And I'm like
Mike.
struggling. I'm just like, what's going on? Why, if I'm paying my tithes, this is of course before I knew, I'm like, why am I struggling? I'm paying my tithes. I don't understand. Like, and they keep asking, and I'm like, and I got to the point where I was like, I'm about to start reading. So we started studying these on our own.
Yeah.
And when I read this part, I'm like, wait a minute. They don't teach any of this. So we're supposed to literally pay our tithes to the Father, but He's not telling you to go struggle. Like, and
No.
it just got to the point where once we studied this scripture, and my turning point was when my child had holy shoes on, but I was yet pouring in. I'm like, if the Father blessed me, but He blessed me with, this job to provide for my children to make sure that they have in this home, there's no way that I'm supposed to be pouring this much more into a structure. And I'm like, wait a minute, just like they tell us, hey, if the Father bless you to have it, don't you think He's gonna take care of it? And I'm like, this is what He blessed us with to have. So once I read this, I was like, they're telling us and teaching us wrong. And we're out here struggling, trying to pay electric bill. We put it into a structure that we literally have to go to and say, hey, I need help paying this now.
Yeah.
Didn't make any sense to
At
me.
all.
So after we studied this portion, and there are more scriptures to go with it, we were like, no, it's time to actually put our faith where it needs to be placed.
Absolutely.
And rely on the Father solely, because this is the blessing that He gave. He opened the door opportunity for that job so that way I can take care of these children. So why am I struggling now? So after I read this, like, I kid you not, my whole mindset changed with where you're doing and how you're doing tithes. And that literally, finances, everything. And I still give because that's what I'm, supposed to do. But it's not, oh, you're going to give this much and you're going to give that much. And I don't feel
21 people, $1,000. $1,000.
I got some facts. I just thought about it. I had an epiphany when she said what she was saying. Back to, what's your water, bro?
That's your
Back to,
what's yours first?
Come on, communicate effectively. Let's go.
Yeah.
but no, so like back to, we was talking about how he writes his law in our hearts and stuff. So we become His law, right? And as she was speaking, like it just epiphany. This says, "Rejoice you in thine household." If we are His portion, His life, we is His people. His name is on us. Like I said, maybe it's just me and my thought process. Invest in the things that He gave us, because that's what His name is. Because not to stop what you were saying. Like you said, you still give, but it said where His name at. But a lot of these churches ain't got His name on.
Hey.
A lot of these
Yeah.
ministries we give to ain't got His name nowhere near.
Oh, you in the booth right now? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
You in the studio? All right.
You right, though.
You rapping right now?
So exactly, I know for sure. I'm trying to do what I need to do. Maybe I need to invest in me and my household. Maybe I need to pour that back into, like you said, a financial situation for me and my children.
It also says about the fatherless, the widow.
Yeah, we're about to read that.
orphan.
and
It
see-
says all that. And I'm like sitting there, I'm like, hold up.
And so, like I said, and how can we give back to these places if, like you said, we're struggling?
Yes.
Your lights off, but you are, your kids are in your household.
Yeah.
That's your first ministry.
Yeah, Pastor got a Lambo.
Yeah.
Your first ministry is to yourself and your family.
Right.
Say that again. I don't think they heard that.
Your first ministry is to yourself and your family. So you gotta make sure they're
Straight.
taken care of and spiritually fed, and physically, of course, before you can go and help your so-called neighbor.
Right.
But all in all, like I said, I just thought about it like, okay, and because like, what was the 24? The one before that, it's like a place where he appointed, where his name is, and I'm like,
Yep.
it just opened up. I don't know.
No, that's right.
A whole lesson within itself.
Yeah. Yeah. Who was reading?
And the Levi-
Make you all certified readers.
Why not? You know, I do it well.
And the Levite that is within thy gates, thou shalt not forsake him, for he hath no part nor inheritance with thee.
So remember, it said it was after a certain amount of years, and it said approximating, right? This is how you know that this was a tithe. Read that one.
At the end of 3 years thou shalt bring forth all the tithe of thine increase the same year, and shalt lay it up within thy gates.
And read the next verse.
Yeah. And the Levite, because he hath no part nor inheritance with thee, and the stranger, and the fatherless, and the widow, which are within thy gates, shall come, and shall eat and be satisfied, that the Lord thy God may bless thee in all the work of thine hand, which thou doest.
So the tithe is actually supposed to be every 3 years.
Yeah.
And even that.
So it's they call the year of the tither.
So why everybody do it every month?
Well, I'll just say the theology behind it is we're not tilling the ground, and we're not like really hunting and have all this cattle and stuff anymore. So the mode of currency has changed, is what they try to say. But again, the tithe is every 3 years, right? So what we should, like, whenever you give, it's what you call a free will offering. It's not nothing outside of a tithe. It's not nothing mandated. And again, it's every 3 years. So when Cain and Abel came to the spot, they knew what it was supposed to be. You know, the tithe is 10th, and it's supposed to be your best. It's like the first fruits to the Most High. You don't come lacking. And let's see if he was lacking, right?
You said that pretty much was the priest and
Yeah.
fatherless and the father, you know, all that.
Yeah.
So, in the next year, they probably was finna, this is what they finna present to their father. Because we said Adam was the high priest at the time.
Yeah, he would have been the high priest on the earth. Yeah, literally.
This is amazing.
Because we know, like, a priest, you're supposed to be inspecting everything. Like, all right, hold on, before I give it to him, hold on.
Yeah.
Oh no, that corner, it ain't no good. No. That lamb, he got a sprained ankle. We can't sacrifice him.
He had some blemish.
Nah, man, he got crossed over, ankle breaker. Got hit with the hezi on him. So back to Jasher, chapter 1, verse 16. Bam, if you don't mind, let's wrap this up.
You disappointed. Man, look at his job. All right. And unto Cain and his offering, Yahweh did not turn, and he did not incline to it.
Why? Why didn't he turn or incline to it? Because he burned Abel's with fire, right? He loved that thing, right?
So he pretty much look at it.
Boy, like, what is? Ain't no way. That's what he said. Ain't no way, boy.
Turn the head up.
Ain't no way.
You know what, boy?
For he had brought from the, what's that,
Inferior.
fruit of the ground. And before Yahweh, inferior fruit of the ground before Yahweh. And Cain was jealous against his brother, and Abel on account of this. His brother Abel on account of this, and he saw to
A pretext.
a pretext to slew him.
So he really mad at himself.
Yeah.
Like, wait a minute. I didn't bring the best, but you didn't have to give that to Abel like that. Ain't no way. Anybody but him. There's no other man there, bro. So, go ahead.
So if God gonna favor you, I'm gonna kill you. That's
Huh?
what he said.
Ain't that wild? Like we're not supposed to hate our neighbor in our heart. We're not supposed to bear any type of grudge, any of that. And because he didn't do what he was supposed to do,
Right.
he gonna look evil at his brother like it's your fault. If you wasn't here, he would have had to take what I got him. Doggone it. All right, Abel, I got you. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
It's coming.
He said sin was brought up against his door.
Well,
And then sometime after Cain and Abel, his brother,
went one day into the field to do their work,
Pay attention to this.
and they were both in the fields, Cain tilling and plowing his grounds, and Abel feeding his flock. And the flock passed. And the flock passed at the part which Cain had plowed the ground, and the sorely grieved Cain on this account.
So what just happened?
So his flock pretty much.
Whose flock?
Abel's flock.
Abel's flock did what?
The past
Walk
Cain
over.
where he was plowing.
Yeah, walk by.
Walk by.
So now is
That
it,
was his chance.
huh?
That was his chance.
Okay, let's keep going.
Yeah.
So Abel, although righteous, he wasn't without making mistakes, right?
Right.
Which that should have been a simple thing, like, okay, my bad, we just pull him back, okay.
Right.
But let's see if either one of them was really being their brother's keeper in that time, because you have to know if somebody want to kill you, bro.
Yeah.
I don't care what nobody got to say. Like, if I know somebody, like, I can feel it in the air.
Yeah.
Like, hold on,
They vibrations is up.
yeah, like, yeah, Sometimes you can smell death or smell blood. I don't know about y'all, but sometimes I can feel like, it's about to go down. I gotta go.
Yeah.
I don't know about y'all.
Yeah.
Yep.
So who's reading 16?
And unto Cain and his offering, the Lord did not turn, and he did not incline. Didn't we just read this?
Did I?
You put it up twice. Hold on.
Yeah.
No,
Actually,
nope.
no.
I did
Okay.
18, I
Okay.
think.
Okay. And unto Cain and his offering, the Lord did not turn, and he did not incline to it, for he had brought from the inferior fruit of the ground before the Lord. And Cain was jealous against his brother Abel on account of this, and he sought a pretext to slay him. And then sometime after, Cain and Abel, his brother, went one day into the field to do their work. And they were both in the field, Cain tilling and plowing his ground, and Abel feeding his flock. And the flock passed that part which Cain had plowed in the ground, and it sorely grieved Cain on his
So,
account.
because he's waiting for anything,
Like,
right?
He didn't mean to do that. Like, it just happened. Like,
Oh, okay.
You
You,
can't always stop your animals from going.
you say that. Read the next verse.
All right. And Cain approached his brother Abel in anger.
So should he be approaching him in anger?
No.
Okay, wrong spirit. Okay.
And he said unto him, what is there between me and thee, that thou comest to dwell and bring thy flock to feed in my land?
So is that using
Oh.
effective communication?
Not,
I mean, it's clear and concise, but is that being courteous? He came to him in anger.
yeah, I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's my lane.
Yeah, like, why you on my land and y'all up here eating my stuff?
Yeah.
Dang.
Okay.
Can I get some business?
And Abel answered his brother Cain and said unto him, what is there between me and thee, that thou shalt eat the flesh of my flock, and clothe thyself with their wool?
So he snapped right back at him,
I
right?
had no problem, 'cause you do, yeah,
So he's like, you provide him off a lot.
yeah,
Brothers keeper. So brothers get into arguments. We can tell.
yeah. And now therefore put off the wool of my sheep with which thou hast clothed thyself, and recompense me for the fruit and flesh which thou hast eaten. And when thou shalt have done this, I will then go from thy land as thou hast said.
So Cain had thought that he was so righteous in this situation. You done brought your animals on my land. I'm over here trying to plant. I can't even do nothing. How about y'all get up out of here?
Oh no, you been eating my animals and using their wool to make your clothes and all that?
Bro, you ain't naked no more because of me.
Okay, well pay me back then. Yeah, pay me back then.
But what happens is when we get jealous and we're full of envy, we don't even see what we've been doing
Right.
at all. He had he didn't think Abel was going to come back at him like that.
Hey, that's crazy. I did. I be doing that too. That's still wrong.
Yeah.
That's still the wrong spirit, because that's probably what got him killed. Even though, well, it was gonna happen, but I be like that too. Like a lot, I be trying to tell people like, it's not. I'm just showing you. Like, I need you to be appreciative of what the things I do for you,
Yeah,
and don't act like what I do ain't nothing.
yeah.
Like, this is a lot. Like, I do this out of the kindness of my heart. Like, don't get it twisted. I ain't gotta do this.
At all.
And they'll pretty much be like, hey, don't get it twisted.
So because Cain was self-righteous, right? Because he was just looking like, man, if he crossed this line on everything I love, folk, if his animals cross this line one more time,
That's
folk,
when I started drawing the line in the dirt.
like,
I just plowed it.
That was
Come
first-
with
that
it.
was
This
the
my
first
land.
line in the dirt, yeah.
mhm. Keep going.
And Cain said to his brother Abel, Surely, if I slay thee this day, who will require thy blood from me?
Once you get to that point, Abel should have just left. Like, oh, you outside your ever-loving mind. You are not your brother's keeper. Ain't no way. Ain't no way, bro. You talking about killing me? Killing me over some sheep that you done ate and got clothes from? Oh, no. If you got hate in your heart, let it out.
Yeah, it's too deep. It's too
Bruh.
deep. Wow, bro, that's right. That is crazy.
Who gonna spin the block?
Are you your brother's keeper?
I ain't never heard this whole full story like this.
So, and the thing about it is, if he's speaking, he's already been thinking about killing this man. Like, it's premeditated. He's like, man, yeah, I already know what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I'm going to fix him. Most I ain't going to like no more of your offerings. We going to see. Won't happen again. You won't give a better tithe to me again. You can bet the money on that.
I'm gonna get you up out of here.
Yeah.
You gotta make it blood.
Yeah. Literally get it back in blood. Like, literally. All right.
Original slice.
All right. Shalom.
And Abel answered Cain, saying, surely God, who has made us in the earth, he will avenge my cause, and he will require my blood from thee, shouldest thou slayest me. For the Lord is the judge and arbiter,
Mm-hmm.
and it is he who will requite man according to his evil, and the wicked man according to the wickedness that he may do upon earth.
Mm-hmm.
And now, if thou shouldest slay me here, surely God knoweth thy secret views, and will judge thee for the evil which thou didst declare to do unto me this day. So he's trying to talk about it, like God already knows what you're gonna do,
Yeah.
so you're gonna get
Like, you ain't going to get away with it. Like, what you talking about killing me, bruh?
man.
Bruh.
Indeed.
You the only brother I got. For real?
Yeah.
You are not, you are not my brother's keeper. All right.
And when Cain heard the words which Abel his brother had spoken, behold, the anger of Cain was kindled against his brother Abel for declaring this thing.
So because he told the truth, not because he was lying.
He gonna get Super Saiyan mad.
Like, yeah, he was telling them the truth, and a lot of people can't take the truth.
Yeah.
Effective communication.
Yeah. And Cain hastened and rose up and took the iron part of his plowing instrument. See, we never heard this before. With which he suddenly smote his brother, and he slew him. And Cain split the blood of his brother Abel upon the earth. And the blood of Abel streamed upon the earth before the flock. And after this, Cain repented. Hold on.
He gonna kill him.
He killed him.
He gonna kill him dead, and then you gonna repent.
He was just sorry.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't really mean to kill. I don't want you to be dead.
And it's just a prime example on how a spirit can come over you
Mm-hmm. And take control.
and take control. Like once the job done, it's okay.
Cause like a lot of people, they'd be like, I don't know what came over me. I don't even know what happened. It's like I blacked out. You literally did. Get your mind off of autopilot. Control your mind. Emotions. Be your brother's keeper.
I've done it before, And after this, Cain repented, having slain his brother, and he was sadly grieved, and he wept over him, and it vexed him exceedingly. So now he's really sad.
Mm-hmm.
And Cain rose up and dug a hole in the field, wherein he put his brother's body,
Mm-hmm.
and he turned the dust over it.
Okay, this should be the. We got 2 slides, I think. All right.
And the Lord knew what Cain had done to his brother. And the Lord appeared to Cain and said unto him, where is Abel, thy brother, that was with thee? And Cain dissembled and said, I do not know. Am I my brother's keeper? And the Lord said unto him, what hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground where thou hast slain him. For thou hast slain thy brother, and hast dissembled before me, and didst imagine in thine heart that I saw thee not,
You see
nor
everything.
knew all thy actions. But thou didst this thing, and didst slay thy brother, nor not and because he spoke rightly to thee. And now, therefore, cursed be thou from the ground which opened its mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand, and wherein thou didst bury him.
So I think we're actually gonna stop there. I think I said 2, but that's basically saying the same thing. But I'll just read this verse. Genesis 4, verse starting at 9. And Yahuwah said unto Cain, where's thy brother Abel? Where's thy brother? And he said, I know not. Am I my brother's keeper? We're supposed to be. And he said, what hast thou done? The voice of your brother's blood cried unto me from the ground. And now are you cursed from the earth. So not only was the Canaanites cursed, so was Cain, right? On the ground. And thou shalt be cursed from the earth, which hath opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand. When thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength. A fugitive and a vagabond shalt thou be in the earth. But in this day, we have to learn how to effectively communicate. We have to be our brother's keeper. Because if we don't control our mind, then we'll have murder on our mind. Murder on our mind. So, did that make sense?
Yeah. And you know what, like going to the verse you said, not you said, but when in Joshua, when it said he repented, and like just about like you saying, having that sound mind and doing the right thing and controlling that mind. Because he felt bad. He repented. So he did the right thing. Even after doing so wrong, he did
It
the
was
right
just,
thing.
he should have been doing that before.
Like, yeah, I'm just even in a moment, and then the Most High gave him, it's like the Most High gave him another chance.
Grace.
And it was like, hey, like, well, your brother. Because he could have, my father, I messed up. He could have been sorrowful the whole time.
Yeah.
He could have got his birthright back. Instead of him going to Seth. Because it went through what?
Yep, Seth. Yeah, it skipped him completely.
He skipped him whole,
Yeah,
like, you know,
ain't no way.
and, like, just reading, like I said, because I didn't, like, I think we read it before, but he was actually sorrowful. Like, so he wasn't just a complete
Psychopath.
evil, trifling
He
person.
was sorry for after he did that.
But after he did that, like you said, but he loved his brother. He cared for his brother.
Even when God came and asked him that, he gonna say, "Am I my
Yeah,
brother?"
and no, I said, so the spirit came back to him. Like he said, that's not being, having that sound mind. Like, that's what you gotta work on that day.
It's being double-minded because he knew. He knew exactly what he did.
knew. And then, like, the Most High came to him, he was like, pretty much like, so you killed him for telling you the truth? He told you I wasn't gonna let this happen.
And he told you that I already knew what you were gonna do.
He told you I knew what you was gonna do. He told you I was gonna avenge him, and you didn't care. And you said, being double-minded, not caring. He was angry. And hyper emotional, like you said, we can't be hyper
Oh man, that's the height of hyper emotionalism right there. You don't kill your little brother.
little one.
Yeah, the little like
Over some animals and fruit. I mean, come
yeah, over an offering because he didn't do what he was supposed to do. And like you don't even think about the repercussions. Like you read in like either Jasher or Jubilees, it talks about how Adam and Eve were mourning for like 28 years until they had Seth after that.
Man.
28 years, I want to say. It said 4 weeks of years. So that's 28 years until they finally had Seth. Make them go through all that because of your selfishness, because of your envies and your jealousies, because you can't control your emotions. You can't control your mind because you don't truly love your neighbor as yourself. You don't really love your brother. You love people in word and not in deed. You know, because actions speak way louder than that. Go ahead.
Now I was just saying this all because you didn't do what you supposed to. Like it started with you not doing what you supposed to do, and that was like big old downhill travel.
When me and you be talking, a lot of times we talk about relationships with women, whatever, and a lot of times they don't accept what it starts.
Accountability.
So he blaming his brother for all this stuff, and then Abel's like, "Oh, you mad about this? Well, what about all these right here? Exhibit A, Your Honor."
Oh man, not for how much you pay me back.
Yeah,
For everything.
and then we'll just call it even. How about that?
But I wonder where did all this take place at? Because they're outside the Garden of Eden. So where all this take place?
Somewhere over in the motherland, Africa.
I'm gonna wait till after
Yeah.
to say what to say.
But did that make sense?
Yeah. yeah, man. Listen, this was one of the ones that was on point. Like,
Praise
it
you
was
for that.
on point.
What's that?
Not his best.
Oh, it was? Okay, okay. Good. Well, Bam, you mind praying us out?
Heavenly Father, we want to say thank you for letting us come to another Shabbat lesson. We thank you for the truth that you bring forth. We ask you to continue to bring the truth that you are our Heavenly Father. We ask and pray that you continue to open our hearts, minds, ears, and our eyes. Let us seek you, Heavenly Father, so that everything else shall be added. We ask that you give us the desires of our heart. Let us be righteous in our dealings, in our judgment, and in our decisions, Heavenly Father. Give us discernment to stay away from the things that is not for us and is not good for us also. We ask and pray in your darling son, Yeshua's name. Amen.
So please like, share, subscribe. Until next time, peace, family.
Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.